Alright, welcome back everyone. Had a couple of days away, but we're finally back some Ace Attorney. Can't remember where we left off here. This case was kind of cool. I remember a little bit of it. We were like playing as Edgeworth's dad for a bit, and then it like jumped back to the present. But now we have to solve two different cases in two different time periods. Because apparently some people who were involved in the last case like 20 years ago somehow managed to come back and get themselves involved in another case. That can't be a coincidence. But how's it going, everyone, tonight? Had some reason I was away with some technical difficulties over the weekend, but maybe I'll try and get into it a little more later once we have some time here and we're out of this like next cutscene. Sure are taking their time. Thought this was supposed to be a 10-minute recess. Oh yeah, we got like fake court because you know who is back. Sorry to keep you losers waiting. Fuck this guy, I absolutely hate him. But wait no longer. I won the race to find Alicia Scone, and here she is. Hello, dears. This lovely young man said you want to speak to me. Alicia Scone, purveyor of the most wondrous wares a pharmacist can offer. At your service. This fake baker who like just covered a bunch of, I don't know, styrofoam or plastic walls in whipped cream and called it a dessert. Apparently she's like a pharmacist. Probably should have stuck to pharmacy. You can call me the winner, and I'll call you whatever I want. Alright, Winnie Pooh, whatever you say. It's lovely to meet you, dearie. So much for calling me the winner. Oh, have we met before, young man? Get a load of this, Alicia. That's Miles Edgeworth, Gregory's son. Well, I've never. It's a pleasure to meet you, Mousy Smiles. You must address me by my given name, just Miles will do. Greggy Pegleg's boy. And all grown up. Makes me feel my age, won't don't you? I wonder just how old she is. Von Karma? Nah, that's not his dad. That's like his adoptive dad. I mean his real dad. It was his last case. The case that he did before he died to Von Karma. Eustace, I believe we have some questions for our pharmacist. Oh yeah. What brings you to the gallery today, Miss Scone? Why, I came to see a dear old Moody Judy, of course. We've been best friends for 18 long years, and no one's going to stop me visiting her now. I understand that you helped look after Mr. Gusto in the immediate aftermath of the attack. Oh, I didn't do much, really. Just whipped up a quick antidote for the dear old doctor. Wow, you can make an antidote just like that? Oh, yes, dear. As long as I have the right ingredients, I can throw together just about any medicine you like. Certainly helped that the medical room is well equipped, though. Is that what pharmacists can do? Is that like a thing you can learn? I thought pharmacy was just so you could go and count pills and put them in bottles. And like making the actual drugs was like a different school of medicine. You're much better off treating him here than losing vital minutes taking him to the hospital. Anyway, we did what we could. And the rest, well, that's up to him. And do you know the victim, Miss Delicious? Oh yes, well, sort of. It's been 18 years since I last saw him. Apparently, he's famous these days. One of the best confectioners in the world, or so they say. Interesting. So he's a well-known public figure. Oh yes, dear. He was on the news and everything. Confectionery crafting king of the world, they said. Wow, the old dog really went to Shang-Fa and upped his game, just like he said he would. Who is back? I don't know who you know who is. These two! These fuckers. Fucking Miss, I want to take away your license, Gavel, and then the jackass kid that she hangs around with, who thinks he's better than everyone. Perhaps if we could proceed to the matter at hand, Miss Scone. Are you familiar with the substance known as Infesticide Ultra? Of course, dear. You use it to get rid of, you know what. Oh, it's awfully strong, though. That's why they don't sell it in the shops. Might I ask what you mean by you-know-what? Other little blighters that find the life out of poor innocent ladies like yours truly, that's what. Ghastly little creatures, running around people's nice clean kitchens and terrorizing them. Oh, I get it. Those. Thank you, Miss Scone. One more question, if you don't mind. Are you aware of what happens when the chemicals asphyxion and ubiquium are combined?
Oh, yes? It's right there in the pesticide ultra instructions. Do not mix with products containing ubiquium. Ever. Because if you do, they react with each other and make a horrible poisonous gas. What was it again? Effects of inhalation include respiratory complications and, well, death. And poor old Gusty Bear nearly didn't make it. To make that much gas, you'd need, ooh, probably 500 milliliters of each chemical, I'd say. She certainly talks like a skilled pharmacist. The liquid's awfully thick and sticky, and it heats up very quickly indeed. It's also brightly red and smells minty fresh. Oh, and cheap as chips. That's why they use it in everything. Asphyxia is more watery and it's white in color. That will do, thank you. You are clearly well informed, Miss Scone. As well as I should be, dearie. After all, Infesticide Ultra is made by the company I work for. Oh, but before you get the wrong idea, they don't go around handing out free samples. As I say, it's awfully, terribly dangerous. You couldn't even buy it if you wanted to. Yes, Miss Scone. Very interesting indeed. I think that tells us all we need to know. Strange. I thought she suspected Miss Scone. But something in that smile makes me wonder if she has some other angle in mind. So a bit of a recap, at least for the modern section of this case. Some guy who was involved in the case with Gregory 20 years ago was like locked in this room. I think he was in the box. I don't know. He wasn't in the box, but there was like a couple of chemicals leaking out of the statue in the far left there. That's why the cracked lid. And those chemicals mixed together, they made the poisonous gas you just heard about. Guy almost died from asphyxiation due to the poison in the chemicals. Fortunately, he was saved, but now we're trying to figure out why someone would do this in this, like, random art gallery. What is it, Detective Flatfoot? Any developments to report? Yes, sir. Turns out the sculpture's glass display case is open from the top. Huh, that's rather unusual. And the temperature inside can be adjusted too, all the way down to 0 degrees. And the Pisces case was kept at 26 degrees. Dang, I got my hand stuck to it. We're lucky you escaped alive. Anything more relevant to the case? Yeah, they found something on the underside of the top part of the Pisces case. Traces of ubiquium. That's one of the chemicals that makes the gas. Oh, now we're talking. That's odd. If there was ubiquium stuck to it, it should have stayed stuck. After all, 26 degrees, it would have been frozen solid. It would, huh? So, how did things wind up as they are now? I think Kay might be able to help us figure out just that. Or at least Mr. Thief might. You guys are that desperate to get on my good side, hmm? Fine. I don't know what the heck you're talking about, but take it away. Can't believe I'm taking orders from this guy, but whatever. Anything for the truth. Before you get too carried away, the Goddess of Justice has no need for your help. We will find the truth ourselves. Youch! Why the Frosty judge she? The baby prosecutor just gave us a big thumbs up. What's the issue here? Ooh, wait. Don't tell me the committee has some dirty little secret it doesn't want us finding out. I am not required to explain myself to you. But if you feel that you absolutely must participate in the investigation, perhaps you can prove to me that it will be worth our while to keep you around. What exactly does she have in mind here? Who triggered the release of the poison gas? If you can answer this question, I will consent to your participation in the investigation. You heard the lady, Smiles. Somebody open up the Pisces case and let out that gas. Considering what we've learned so far, there's only one person it could possibly be, no? Yes, the answer is indisputable. In that case, please kindly provide it now. Who released the poison gas? Alright, so from what I remember in the room, this was the only guy in the room because this place was locked up. And yet he still came out of the room after we unlocked it. So I think it has to be him. He's the victim though, which makes this kind of weird. But I don't know who else it could be. Who else is involved here? Judy? I mean, she would have the key, so it could have been her. She knows about all this stuff, but she's just a visitor, so what would she have access to this room for? So it's really only those three people, and one of them is probably not even possible. Let's see, can we take a look at the evidence and figure out
if this room was like completely locked. I can't remember all the little details like that. I don't think there is anything like that. Yeah, that's when he entered the place. I'm guessing it probably is her. Because why would he poison himself? That's stupid. No, okay. Then it's gotta be it is him. That's interesting if that's the case. Why would he, like, poison himself with the gas, though? Okay. There's only one person who was in this room when the gas was... Yeah, it was definitely him, yeah. So it definitely has to be him. I just didn't want to believe it. Yeah, great defense attorney I am. Only person here. The victim, Carmelo Gusto, was the only person to have entered the Autumn Wing. Thus, only he could have opened the case. Correct. That appears to be the only logical answer. Very well. I will permit your participation in this investigation to continue. However, if at any point I feel you're contributing nothing of value, you will be removed. Immediately. Understood. Even if Mr. Gusto did open the case, we have still no idea why. I need to, like, fix the TV here in a second. So, my TV broke again last week. So I was, like, trying to get that sorted out. I've got another TV here in the meantime that we had seen around the house. But, gonna be honest, don't like it as much as my previous TV. Not that there's anything I can do about that. Because I'm not planning to get that thing fixed anytime soon. It's like 10 years old. It already broke once. I got it fixed. It broke again after like a month. So it's like, you know what? I'll just buy a new one if I need to. And this one I'm using in the meantime. Unfortunately, because it's the year 2025 and that TV is from like 2014, the idea and notion of buying a 1080p TV is like practically unheard of in this day and age. So that means I have to play a 1080p game at 4K. Now you can imagine what happens when you stretch an image from 1920 by 1080 to 4K resolution. It's not great. So I've been like trying to figure out a sweet spot for these settings so it doesn't look like complete ass at 1080p. Because I mean obviously the Switch doesn't render these things at 4K. Oh well, we'll just leave it like that for now, I think. It's a little fuzzy, but not really a whole lot I can do about that. That's okay. At least the text doesn't look like shit anymore. I had like the sharpness turned up, but it just made reading the text a lot harder. Alright, Mr. Edgeworth. Tell me what you want to see. Let's use the data we've collected to recreate the scene before the poison gas went off. On it. Don't scare me like that. So this is what you were talking about. You're Mr. Thief. Let's begin by examining the Pisces sculpture. There's a generous amount of ubiquium frozen to the underside of the top part of the case. Yeah, which is what's keeping that lid on real tight. The actual glass lid is all cracked though, right? Somebody really went to town in your little house there, huh, Pisces? Do we have any idea how the glass lid might have come to be so cracked? Well, it doesn't look like the outer face and side of the glass suffered any damage. I see. So we have a cracked piece of glass that we know was ice coat on its inner facing side. And we also know that it wasn't damaged in any direct way on its outer facing surface. Thoughts? Ice cold. Makes me think of the way you glare at people, sir. Cracks. Makes me think of those deeply etched lines on your forehead. It was cracked by heat expansion. Applying heat to ice-cold glass from the outside will cause it to crack. Well, I appreciate the science lesson, but why is it all heat cracked in the first place? Why indeed. A heat-cracked glass lid lined on its underside with frozen ubiquium. You look like a cat got the scream, Mazarano. You know what happened, don't you? I certainly do. And what's more, I know that Mr. Gusto opened the case. What? But you didn't give me a chance to figure it out first. It would have been quite the wait. Well, don't keep it to yourself, Edgeworth. I want answers. How did Mr. Gusto open the case? Well, it would have been with this, probably. Somebody was using a blowtorch somewhere.
The blowtorch showed signs of being used recently when it was found here in the Autumn Wing. I think it's likely that it was used on the glass lid, causing it to crack. A blowtorch? Who uses a blowtorch to open a glass case? Oh, I get it. Mr. Gusto was trying to melt the frozen ubiquium so he could open the lid.
Why did he want to get in there? Did he know that the ubiquium was there?
Indeed.
Maybe he didn't know asphyxion was also there.
You beat me to the answer by a second, but we'll see who wins in the end.
Don't try and tell us you nearly had it. You didn't have a clue.
Nuh-uh. It was Edgeworth making things hard to understand.
Right.
Hey, would you mind updating the recreation so that Mr. Winner can follow along too?
Sure, just for him. Alright, here goes. Glad we have our local court illustrator drawn everything that's going on here.
Mr. Gusto was alone in the Autumn Wing, and while he was in here, he used this blowtorch to melt the frozen ubiquium on the underside of the lid.
And? Yeah, what was his end goal with this?
As the ubiquium melted, it mixed with the asphyxion that was already present inside the glass case, thereby producing our poisonous gas. When Mr. Gusto had finally managed to open the lid, he would have released the gas and poisoned himself. He made it as far as the fountain room where he collapsed.
But why would he do that? Was he trying to commit suicide?
So he opened the case and out came the gas, huh? Seemed we got there in the end.
Why the heck a doodle-doo would he want to open the case in the first place?
I'm not sure. In fact, we don't even know what his ultimate goal was.
I'm thinking he might have come here for the same reason I did. Check out the Autumn Wing, but the Winter... Check out not the Autumn Wing, but the Winter Wing.
You remember, White? I thought this was where the Winter Wing was when we first got here.
Good job too, didn't it, my little Eddie Lumpkin? I was so ever confused what there being where the Chili Wings room was all those years ago. And there's even the same little tree in front of the blessed door. It wouldn't be all 6s and 7s, eh?
Did everyone involved with the I-7 incident make the same mistake? I think we need to go and take another look at the Winter Wing. Time to see how quickly I can convince Mr. Winner, I suppose.
I don't think it's necessarily a coincidence, or I think it is just a coincidence, because once we go back outside, hopefully you'll see, it's pretty clear that you would think the Autumn Wing and Winter Wing are swapped because of how they're decorated outside.
Eureka! Ladies and gentlemen, I have the answer. The answer to what exactly? The man who was going to end it all. A dramatic exit stage left of sort of artsy-fartsy farewell.
Seems like a lot of work for a suicide. A man his age could have just slipped off the ladder and it would have accomplished the same goal.
Have you been listening at all this whole time?
At my level, I barely need to listen to a word, and I still understand exactly half of what's going on.
Yeah, apparently it was the wrong half. Butts is an artist now? Honestly, not that surprising since he did make that statue clock for his girlfriend. Yeah, well, if you remember from Game 3, that final case, or the one with the burning bridge, he was like training under to be an artist. I thought that was just a phase. You know, considering he was like previously a security guard and then he like suddenly became an artist. But no, he's sticking to the artistry stuff, which yeah, I think that does make the most sense. I think I mentioned it last week too, but the fact that he made that statue, should have just done art in the first place. He's gotten better too. Like the drawing he gave us actually looks pretty decent.
Perhaps I can explain a few of the finer details to you later, Eustace.
Winner's prerogative. Winners! Sure. Thanks, Cavell. Thank you indeed. I find it's always best to leave things like child wrangling to a professional.
In the meantime, don't you have something to tell Mr. Edgeworth and his friends?
Oh yeah, I totally forgot.
What is it now?
I took the liberty of investigating our friendly pink pharmacist here. Or rather, I had one of my underlings do it for me.
That's nothing to brag about, you know.
Shut up. Can't you see I'm talking? Anyway, let's put a pin in my suicide theory for now. Yeah. I have something more important to tell you. It was Miss Delicious who set up the poison gas trap.
say that? I was greatly saddened to learn of this, Miss Scone. Your profession is one dedicated to saving lives, and yet you use your expertise to try and take one.
Did you seriously just believe Eustace, Gavel? Now who's the idiot?
I beg your pudding. How dare you? I did no such thing. Perhaps you could explain, Mr. Winner.
You bet I can. Get a load of this.
This is Miss Delicious's pharmacist license, and it says right here that she's authorized to handle Infesticide Ultra.
The product that we have established contains asphyxiant, one of the ingredients of our poison gas.
Exactly. It's almost impossible for ordinary people to get a hold of that stuff. But Miss Delicious is no ordinary person. She's carrying a card-carrying pharmacist. I didn't do it. This is all just a terrible misunderstanding.
Objection!
And that's not all. There was a bottle of Infesticide Ultra in the victim's pocket.
Ooh. Yeah, that's a little damning. Gonna have to agree with Eustace on this one here. It's not looking great.
And what do you know? It's covered in your fingerprints. We know that you and Miss Bound took the victim to the medical room. What better moment to slip the bottle into his pocket, hmm? No. There was only one person on the premises licensed to carry Infesticide Ultra, and that was you, Miss Scone. Furthermore, you are acquainted with Miss Bound, the owner of the gallery, meaning you would have had access to the building and ample opportunity to prepare your trap. No, dear, listen, you don't understand. That Infesticide Ultra was stolen from me.
Someone pickpocketed you?
Lying will only lengthen your sentence, Miss Scone. I'm not lying. Oh, it was in my bag somewhere, I'm sure of it. What is she looking for? That's not it. Well, that's not it.
That cloth looks familiar.
Ah, here we go. I know it was in here somewhere. Look.
And what is this?
There's something written on it, I think.
April 1st, complaint filed. Offense theft. Item stolen, Infesticide Ultra. 1 bottle. It's a crime report relating to a thief.
A what? See, you silly billies. I told you someone pinched it off me, a week ago no less. By which you mean to say that it was not in your possession at any point today? That's exactly what I mean to say. I think the bottle you found might have been the one I lost. I always have some in my medicine bag, just in case, you know. And I'm supposed to keep my bag locked up tight, but, well, I'd forget my head if it wasn't screwed on. Oh, now thanks to silly old me, someone's gone to mix up a cloud of poison gas with the stuff.
Why do you carry around poison with you? Like, just in case you need to exterminate some cockroaches or something?
I see, but why on earth would you carry such a hazardous substance around with you? Like I said, just in case. You never know when one of them might appear. You mean the ghastly little creatures that run around in people's nice clean kitchens type of them. You could just roll up a newspaper and whack! One and done. Psst, Gavel, what do I do now? Ah, of course. I think perhaps it might be wise to confirm the authenticity of the crime report just to be safe. It can't hurt to verify Miss Scone's story after all. She may be lying to us. Good idea. Alright, I'm gonna go give the precinct a call. Don't go anywhere. So Miss Scone might not be guilty after all.
Indeed. If she really were the one to set the poison gas trap, then I highly doubt she would have used a method that directly implicates her. So who do you think did it, Smiles? Someone with knowledge of the victim's likely behavior, and the time and the means to prepare. 2 factors which point to one very specific person.
Oh yeah? And who might that be? Don't leave us hanging, big guy.
Who had the means to steal the Infesticide Ultra and dress one room up to look like another? Well, that would only be her. The only person has access to these rooms. Surely only Miss Bound, the proprietor of these premises, could possibly have prepared in such a way. We'll need some solid evidence to support such a theory, nonetheless.
So it was her, huh?
Strange. It's like he already knew.
Nice shooting, Malzerino. Might have to make that associate position a permanent deal.
That is not what I was hoping for.
I'm back with results!
Well, that's a first.
The police have confirmed that the theft really was reported and logged, which means we may have been a little hasty with some of our conclusions, team.
You mean that every single one of your conclusions proved to be hogwash?
No, I mean, we're only just getting started.
Oh, then what's our next move? Well, first we need to go talk to Miss Bound. And then I'll think about what to do after that.
Eustace. Mr. Gusto's real destination appears to have been the Winter Wing. Perhaps it would be worth having someone investigate that room more thoroughly.
Oh yeah, we should totally do that. Flatfoot, go investigate the Winter Wing. Yes, sir. Well, we're going to talk to Miss Bound.
Very good, Eustace.
We'll join you if you don't mind. Alright, see what I mean? Okay, look at those two trees in the top right. Now, if you look at those two trees, which one do you think is the Winter Wing, and which one do you think is the Autumn Wing? Because I'm going to tell you right now, you're probably going to guess wrong. I guarantee you're not going to know the answer to it. Which is why I don't think there's any real weight behind the idea that people got these wings mixed up, because someone did it deliberately. They messed it up. In fact, actually, if we check the evidence here, we can see that it was messed up from the start. Like, look at that. The Winter Wing is not the fourth wing. It's the third wing. Why? I don't know. Clearly, it was done on purpose. It's almost like someone was trying to bait someone into going into the wrong place. Yeah, you would think the far right is winter because it's got the pine tree, and the autumn wing has like the red maple tree. It's not. The third one is the winter wing. The one on the far right is the autumn wing. It's really strange. Like, why would you set it up like that? Especially when spring and summer are in a logical order on the far side. All right, you have your orders. Go talk to Bound for me.
Hey, Mr. Winter, weren't we going to talk with Miss Bound ourselves?
Sure, but I thought why not let the grunts handle the grunt work, you know? It means I can just sit back and wait for their report. A winning strategy. You spoiled little.
It's so exhausting. I need a break. Huh? There's something in the fountain.
Oh no, don't tell me he's like actually dead. Oh shit, what?
It's a body! What on earth?
Order! Order in the court! Somebody call forensics!
Bad news, sir. Real bad news.
Order! I will have order, detective!
The ice sculptures in the winter wing.
Are they melted? Oh, they're gone. Yeah, they're melted.
They've all melted.
Someone turned up the heat.
We had the same problem in the past, too. What? Huh? Say?
I like that Eustace couldn't even finish the sentence. Absolute moron.
What is the meaning of this?
Now we have 2 victims?
Talk about deja vu. It's just like 18 years ago. Even the ice is melted again.
Again?
It's like some weird rerun. Same people, same everything. I said it before and I'll say it again. This is no coinkydink. You're with me, right, Mauserino? I am. And I think the answers lie in the I-7 incident itself. In fact, I'm convinced of it. Great minds think alike. Alrighty then. Time for another trip down memory lane.
This is like basically where we left off with the previous case. They walked into the room, sculptures melted, and then it jumped back to the present. So maybe we'll get to finally see what became of this case.
Still can't believe the I-7 incident was Gregory's last case. Or that's been 18 long years since. Murder at a confectionery contest, and one of the participants, no less. Artie Frost. They pulled his body out of a treasure chest that was part of Samson Tangaroa's chocolate tableau. He'd been hit in the head with a large rock salt lamp, and subsequently bled to death. Found the lamp hidden inside the candy castle delicious scone had made for the contest.
I think calling it a candy castle is a little generous, considering it's just a plastic structure with a shit ton of whipped cream slathered on top. A very nicely sculpted whipped cream, I'll give her. Definitely not food, though.
But then, before anyone had a chance to investigate Mr. Frost's own room, all of his icy creations had melted clean away. All of Mr. Frost's work destroyed. Mr. Von Karma wasn't very happy. Told us to get out, in no uncertain terms. So what do we do now, Mr. E? I can't believe you just up and kicked us out. Von Karma's a total jerk. Now, Eddie. It was always the job of the police and the prosecutor's office to investigate the scene. Yeah, but he didn't have to talk to us like that. Who cares if we're cops or attorneys? We should all be working together to find the truth. Assume that everybody aims the same as your own. They wish to expose the truth, but others might be preferred to accept things at face value. Which way of thinking is right will depend on the person. What if somebody innocent ends up behind bars because no one managed to uncover the truth? Can happen. We're all human, police and prosecutors included. Which is why defense attorneys exist. Our job is to help people in just such situations. Be friends to the friendless. Friends to the friendless? Now, we may not be able to investigate Mr. Frost's room as we hoped, but that doesn't mean we give up. You're right, Mr. E. I'm sorry. I should have thought more before I opened my big mouth. You're young, Eddie. You'll learn soon enough. I will. I promise.
Mr. Edgeworth, Mr. Fender, you look like you could use a little pick-me-up. I'm afraid this is all I have, but please, by all means.
Whoa, you're the best, Miss Bound.
Tangaroa's favorite, handmade by Bound. Rather misshapen and incredibly sweet. Don't look that misshapen.
Thank you. A little sugar boost might actually help, although these are a little too sweet for my liking, and a little uniquely shaped.
I'm sorry if they're not to your taste.
No way, they're great. They're so sweet.
You're very kind. Imagine, me of all people, a mediocre confectioner.
What? You mean you made these yourself?
Yes, Samson loves chocolate, so I had to learn. Keeping him supplied with his favorite treats is just one of my many duties. Although he does spend most of his time coaching me on how to improve my technique.
Mr. Tangaroa sure is a lucky guy. Guaranteed homemade sweets made by the one and only Judy Bound whenever he wants sounds amazing.
I'm sorry, did you say something?
No, nothing at all. Dear sweet Eddie, you really do still have a long lot to learn. It seems you're quite committed to the work you do for Mr. Tangaroa, Miss Bound.
Of course. What right would I have to stay here otherwise?
What do you mean by that?
I was abandoned as a baby, and Mr. Tangaroa took me in. That's right. One snowy Christmas Eve, many years ago, he found me on the steps of this very mansion. He saved my life, and became the father I never had. I can never repay him. So my work for him is the least I can do, and I'll be here for as long as he needs me.
That's the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. I must be getting old. I'm welling up a little myself.
And I think today is Christmas Eve. And I can't even give him his present in person. I'd do anything to save him. Anything! Please, if there's something I could do to help, just say it.
Very grateful, Miss Bound. Perhaps you could help us by answering the question. Did you know the victim?
Not very well, I'm afraid. No, but if you wanted to see some of his work, I have a picture of the sculptures he made for the final.
Those look familiar.
My, they're stunning.
Aren't they? I think they're masterpieces. Who would have thought that you could make such intricate statues out of flavored ice? Samson adored them too.
Oh hey, that's Taurus and Gemini, right? I didn't know you were keen on constellations and the Zodiac, Eddie. Oh, I love it. The stories the stars could tell. Take Gemini, for example. See the lyre? That's what the harp is called. And the arrow and the... Hold up. The lyre doesn't have any strings. Huh. Did Mr. Frost forget to add them, maybe?
That doesn't sound like something he'd forget to do.
Wait, really? But I thought you just said you didn't know him very well.
Oh, well, he didn't seem like the type.
Seems like she's got something to hide too.
Way to, like, incriminate yourself there, lady.
Took this photograph yourself, Miss Bound?
Yes, I use this instant camera here. It develops the pictures as soon as you take them. It's so useful.
Ooh, I'd love to see it in action.
Then why don't I take your picture?
Yes. Come on, Mr. E. Let's get a shot of the both of us. Well, alright then. Be ashamed to waste a good hair day.
Ready? Say cheese! There, all done. And the picture's yours to keep, Mr. Fender.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Ah, that's such a cool camera.
Well, it's the only one we've got, so we use it for all our picture-taking needs. It's very convenient, but the lack of negatives is something of a shame.
So aren't any negatives for us to reference, huh? I assume Mr. Tangaroa used the same camera during the contest.
Yes, you assume correctly. He used it for some work-in-progress pictures of his seascape, and later to take some photos of the other contestants' work.
Didn't you just take a picture of the body when you discovered it? And didn't you discover the body while judging was still underway?
Ah, yes. Samson wanted pictures of all the entrance-completed rooms, but the film ran out just as he finished photographing Mr. Gusto's work. So he asked me to put in a new cartridge. He seemed to think there should have been more shots left than there were.
In other words, the film ran out sooner than expected?
Yes, the number of shots he took didn't line up with the number of shots remaining. But he thought he'd maybe just lost track somewhere along the way.
But had he really, though?
I went to our living area to change the film and was passing through the fountain room on my way back, when I heard the sound of something break and collapse in Samson's room. Samson, are you in here?
And that's when she found the body.
Mr. Frost's body was just lying there. I was in total shock. It was all too much. But I remember, I called the police, and then I went to tell everyone else. And the camera, it's been with me ever since.
I see. You're grateful if you could lend us the camera in this picture, Miss Bound.
Of course. Here you go.
Thank you.
Takes photos that develop instantly. A new film cartridge has 20 exposures, but there are only 3 remaining. And we also got a photo of the ice sculptures.
Detective Bad, Miss Scone, are they done investigating?
They're done with me, that's for certain. The big meanie told me to clear off. Honestly, that mannequins will be the end of me. The cheek of him.
Guess he got tired of people clearing up his crime scene. Did you run off too, Miss Detective Bad?
Yeah, but Gamma seems to think I'm a nuisance. Can't do things his way with me around.
How'd Mr. Von Karma go so far as to exclude his own lead detective?
Still, got a pretty good look at the scene. As for Gusto, he's enjoying a nice little chat right now in Frost's room.
What about?
About the fact that Miss Bound said she saw him going in there during the contest.
Mr. Gusto went into Frost's room.
That's right, and I have to say he looked very much like he didn't want to be seen. I don't know what he could have been up to. Well, he's candidate number 1 at the moment. The guy who melted Frost's work.
Was that really what Mr. Gusto went into Mr. Frost's room?
I got a photo of the room right here. If you need it, it's all yours.
Wait, what? Why would you just give it to us?
Well, I gotta spill it out for you, kid. I'm offering to help you guys. I want the truth about this case to come out.
Detective? Really, Detective Bad? Oh, Mr. Von Karma won't be so happy about this.
Yeah, well, I'm not Ms. Von Karma's stooge. If he's gonna stonewall my investigation, then I'm not gonna play by the book either. Can't let some pesky rules keep me from finding the truth. Now can I, Mr. Edgeworth?
Indeed. Thank you, Detective Bad. Wow, I can't believe you won him over, Mr. E.
Well, I haven't the foggiest what you all going on about, but here's the new friends, eh?
It's definitely nice to have the good detective on our side, that's for sure. Alright, let's take a look at that photograph.
Yeah.
This is what classroom look like right now.
Yikes, there's nothing but flavored ice sculptures but puddles. The floor appears to be completely covered in pale blue liquid. I should compare this with the photo I just borrowed from Miss Bound. I assume that the unplugged power cord was something to do with all this?
Yeah, once that was out of the socket, yeah, the display cases lost power, and up the temperature went.
Looks like they were all connected to the same power strip. Do you have any idea when it was unplugged?
Nope, still working on that.
Sculptures are beautiful. What a waste.
You could say that again. I should have taken a few more bites out of them while I had the chance.
So it tasted good?
Did they ever? I've never tried ices so scrumptious in all my life.
Really? Man, I wish I could have taken a bite.
Scrumptious except for the salty bit, of course. That was unbearable.
The salty bit?
Isn't the other photo you got there? This bit, the hoppy thingy.
Gemini's liar. Wait, that's why it had no strings? Because you ate them?
I didn't eat that much, you cheeky little devil. I told you, it was all horrible and salty.
Why was it salty? I thought he was making dessert.
It's interesting that only one particular part of this particular sculpture tasted different from the rest. And could somebody other than Miss Scone really be responsible for eating the rest of the strings? Did you notice anything else, Miss Scone?
Come to think of it, I did. There was a funny little mark on Chili Wink's work. It was 2 little letters. Let me see if I can draw it for you. There we go. Yes, it looked just like that.
Hey, that looks familiar.
It's almost like a signature or something. Wait.
But that would explain the stamp he had with him. Maybe it was like a way to sign a sculpture.
I just knew Mr. Frost wouldn't have made that harp without strings. He's not the type to skip an important detail like that.
I hope you don't mind me asking, Miss Bound. Are you certain you didn't know Mr. Frost particularly well?
What? No, I barely knew him, I swear.
Is that so? You certainly seem to have some strong opinions about his attitude towards work.
No, I just... the sculptures were so carefully made, I didn't think he'd missed something so important.
I'm sorry, but I don't believe you. You have a more personal connection to his work than that.
What makes you say that?
I have an item of evidence that appears to have been one of Mr. Frost's possessions, and it shares a key feature with another piece of evidence.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about if you don't share. So, what are those 2 pieces of evidence of yours?
Alright, so the first one's gotta be this one, I hope. And the second one, I'm guessing, is the picture. Is this the one? I mean, it doesn't say anything about pH, but we did just discuss it, so... Is there another piece of evidence that we could use? I don't think so. I'm guessing it's gotta be this. Oh, no, okay. Unfortunate. I thought we were doing the picture because we just established that the picture had a marking that looked like it, but we don't have that evidence technically. That's gotta be what we're getting at, though. Found one of the pieces of evidence we've gathered, but I should take another look over them all, I suppose. Okay. Which 2 items point to Mr. Frost? So the first one's gotta be this. And the second one, is it where we found it? No? What do you want from me, game? Not every day you have to present 2 pieces of evidence at once. I'm trying to remember the last time that happened. I want to say it was like game 3 or something. The liar was salty. There's nothing in here about it. Okay, let me take a look at my history. Can we go back to any of that? Certain you didn't know Mr. Frost particularly well. Certainly seemed to have some strong opinions about his attitude towards work. Sculptures were so carefully made, I didn't think he'd miss something so important. Item of evidence appears to have been one of Mr. Frost's possessions. Yeah, and it shares a key feature with another piece of evidence. So, why wouldn't it... I hope order doesn't matter. Maybe it does? What do we know about this? A seal that was found near the body when it was discovered. What could the design signify? Well, it's probably because it's his, but it's not this and this. So what else could it be? Unless it really is order. Let me see. Item of evidence appears to have been one of Mr. Frost's possessions. Well, no, if order mattered, I feel like we'd present the seal first. That makes the most sense. And shares a key feature with another piece of evidence. But I already presented the picture. I mean, it's not in the picture, really. And we didn't get the sketch that she just made. It's interesting only one particular part of this one particular sculpture tasted different. Somebody other than Miss Scone really be responsible for eating the rest of the strings. Funny little mark on Chillywink's work. It was 2 letters. Looked just like... yeah, but... that's gotta be the seal, so what else... what are we trying to get at here? Is anything in here? Well, it just shows the picture and where we found the seal. I'm stumped as to what we're getting at here. Oh, man, I don't know. Okay, we tried that. Do we try the... I have another idea for something else. I have a theory here, but it's completely unrelated to what we're doing right now, so... I don't think it's important. But maybe it is what we're supposed to be doing next. I think I might know. I think I might have solved the mystery as to why the liar was salty. It's a bit far-fetched, but perhaps. But it doesn't answer the question of, like, what we're supposed to pair this with. Because we already tried this, right? Yeah, that wasn't it. Miss Pound is especially fond of one of the pieces of evidence we've gathered. The camera, right? Take another look over them all, I suppose. Is it the camera? I mean, she liked the camera.
Take that. Take that.
Nope. Okay. I don't know what it wants me to do here. Because, like, I don't remember what other evidence she's fond of. She's fond of the camera, she's fond of the chocolate, but what's the chocolate have to do with this thing? I'm assuming it's this thing. Miss Pound is especially fond of one of the pieces of evidence we've gathered. It's the seal, right? Like, it's the seal, I think. But she seemed to react to it anyways. Okay, where are we? see what we need to pick here. Okay, so we got Scone statements added to the court record. Supplier's pH. Okay, there's a piece of evidence I guess I never examined that I forgot that we could examine. Apparently we can examine this, and yep, I never examined this. Oh, look at that. I thought we already examined this last week, but I didn't realize we could open it up in like the 3D viewer.
Look, it says there's something stamped at the bottom. It says PH. I guess that must be Paul Halik's pottery mark. Those are his initials, after all. Miss Bound says she's a big fan of his work. His initials, huh? So if I'd make it, it would say EF? Yeah, perhaps you should practice by initialing your personal belongings first.
Okay, that's gotta be it then.
Take that.
Just getting back in the groove of things. Forgetting stuff from like a week ago. Don't mind me. Totally forgot about that part.
Miss Scone found 2 letters carved in Mr. Frost's sculptures. I think there were signs of a signature of sorts. After all, it's not unusual for an artist to initial their work.
I guess not. That's right, dear. It's just like you said. Chillywig statues had the letters PH carved into them, plain as day.
PH? Should it be, AF? Yeah, you'd think so, but take a look at this. It's the seal we found at the crime scene. Seems reasonable to assume that fell from Mr. Frost's pocket. And when pressed into the surface of an item, it would leave behind the letters PH. Same pottery mark we see imprinted on the bottom of the items in the tea set.
The same pottery mark?
We've already established that the tea set is the work of the sculptor Paul Halik. From that, we can assume that these same letters would mark any item out as a piece of his work. A fact of which you are well aware, correct, Miss Bound?
Well, yes, I know that he always marks his work with his initials like that. He's never revealed his true identity in public, so it's the only way to know his works are truly his.
Are you telling me Mr. Frost is Paul Halik?
You mean Paul Halik was, That's right, Detective. Artie Frost had another identity. He was no ordinary confectioner, at least, as far as Mr. Bound was concerned. But you see, Mr. Frost was, in fact,
I guess a famed sculptor. He wasn't just any ordinary confectioner, he was an extraordinary one.
Mr. Frost was, in fact, none other than the famed sculptor Paul Halik.
What? Mr. Frost and Paul Halik were the same person?
It's not like the marks out the copy, though. Anyone who's seen it could fake being him with it. Not exactly conclusive proof that Frost was who you say he was. It was proof enough for Miss Bound. What matters is that she believed it. His true identity will have to be investigated by the good people of the precinct. Alright, I'll have the boys look into it.
Almost sounded like a threat, like, I'm gonna bring this up in court, and if you don't have any details on it, well then, too bad for your case.
I should have known I couldn't hide it from you, Mr. Edgeworth.
So you admit it. You're aware of who Mr. Frost really was.
I was... When I discovered his body, I saw the seal you found. Don't ask me how now, but I just knew straight away that he was my dear Paul Halik. Imagine, his entries in the confectionery contest were his final legacy. A great man like that.
And, to be honest, did you enter Mr. Frost's room at any point?
What are you asking me that for?
Photograph of Mr. Frost's room. I'd like to know when it was taken.
I must have gotten it mixed up with the one Samson took during the judging.
Objection.
Yeah, bullshit.
I'm afraid I find that rather hard to believe. You said yourself that the camera ran out of film during the judging, and that you've had charge of the camera since before Mr. Tangaroa had the chance to visit Mr. Frost's room. That's how you knew you were able to take that picture when you discovered Mr. Frost's body.
I suppose so.
This suggests that you took on only 2 pictures with the new film. One of Mr. Frost's body and one of his room. But I have a piece of evidence that says otherwise.
You do?
Contradicts the assumption Miss Bound only took 2 pictures. There's only 3 remaining. That means like 17 were taken. If she put a new cartridge and there's only 3 remaining, then surely she took more than 2.
Take that.
The camera.
You gave the picture of the body to the police. The picture of Mr. Frost's room to me.
Oh, and you gave us that picture you took of me and Mr. Edgeworth, too.
3 photographs in total, and yet the film cartridge in this camera only has 3 exposures remaining, out of a total of 20. You took more pictures, and I want to know what of. I'll need to see all the photos you took. Perhaps then we'll finally learn what you were really up to.
I'm so sorry. I confess, I've been lying to you. I actually took 4 pictures.
These are all shots of Frost's room.
I'm so sorry.
Looks like you took the pictures of his work from every possible angle.
Well, that'd be great for investigation, maybe.
And when they were taken, the ice still hadn't melted yet. Wait, don't tell me it was you.
It was. At least, I'm pretty sure it was.
Did she like trip over the power cord or something?
You are? Why?
Well, you see, I'm a huge fan of Mr. Halik's work, as you know. I was petrified that they might be in ruin, what with the investigation that was going on and everything. So I thought I should at least capture the sculptures on film for posterity.
And? How did that make them melt?
I think I was so intent on getting the perfect photographs that I might have tripped over the power cord without noticing.
By mistake. Are you sure?
I didn't notice it at the time, but, well, how could I have been so careless as to cause the loss of his final masterpieces?
Seems a little convenient to me. Not sure I believe it. But I'm not in a position to refute it either.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to cause you any trouble.
Please, don't worry about it. The important thing is that you told us the truth. What he said. No hard feelings, Miss Bound.
Thank you.
Mr. Edgeworth, picture's yours. Hope it helps.
So we got the before and after shots.
Oh, there he is. He's back. Are you infernal nuisances still here? You don't know when to give up. Linger for as long as you like. The answer is still the same. You are not part of this investigation. Whether a part of it or not, we'll uncover the truth nonetheless. Seems you don't know when to shut up either. But I commend you on your stubbornness.
Mr. Von Karma, I'm afraid I'm the one responsible for Mr. Frost's work melting.
What? What is the meaning of this?
I'm so sorry. And to you, Mr. Gusto.
No concern of mine. I didn't do anything, and Mr. Von Kammer agrees. Nothing at all, Mr. Gusto. You went to Mr. Frost's room, didn't you? Perhaps you could tell us why.
Sir, I was...
Silence! You are not to give the attorney even the tiniest shred of information. Duty bound. You are coming with me. I have reason to believe that you are an accomplice of the accused, Samson Tangaroa.
No,
I will be interrogating you personally, so you had better get your story in order.
I understand.
Wait, please. I'm not in question of myself. And you think I care because... Bad. Gusto. And you, Scone. I have questions for all of you, and I expect answers. Fine by me.
Oh, you could at least ask nicely, mannequins.
He took literally everyone with him. Indeed. Well, I suppose that means there's little point in us hanging around either. Perhaps it's time we got going anyway. It is rather late. I hope the snow has let up. You're right. Home time. Food time.
Food sounds great.
Guess my stomach's in agreement too. Alright. Let's go grab a burger. For my own stomach, it starts grumbling too. Sounds good to me. Let's eat up and rest up. We'll need fighting fit for tomorrow. We will indeed. The first port of call will be with Mr. Tangaroa.
Well, there's a lot of to be continued in this one. Very short sections. I guess it's because of all the jumping around between like the past and present. Although we are still in the past, apparently. Hey, it's Miss Bound.
Oh, Mr. Fender. Mr. Edgeworth. I'm so sorry about what happened yesterday.
Looks rather tired. Has Mr. Von Karma finished interrogating you?
Yes, though he really only seemed interested in how I melted those sculptures.
Are you here to see Mr. Tangaroa too?
Yes, I'm terribly worried about him.
That's not Mr. Tangaroa.
Detective Bad, what are you doing back there?
Oh, just happened to be here. I'll be heading back to the scene soon.
Not sure anyone just happens to be at a detention center, but okay.
Good morning.
Mr. Tangaroa, what happened to you?
Oh no, Samson, what did they do to you?
They didn't seem to want to let me sleep. I had no idea interrogations could be so involved. Sorry if I seem distracted. I think I'm a little tired. I'll let you sleep. That's not police work, that's torture. What's going on here, Detective Bad?
I'm not the one doing the interviewing. It's the guy they put in the case before me. I like Von Karma's methods about as much as you do, which is why I'm doing what I can to help.
It was Detective Bad who got me out of there. I'd still be in that interrogation room right now if it weren't for him. Detective Bad really is trying to look out for Mr. Tangaroa in his own way, it seems. Alright, Eddie. Let's share yesterday's findings with Mr. Tangaroa.
You got it, Missy. My notepad is at the ready.
Mr. Tangaroa, we found out quite a bit if you'd like to hear it. Of course. Thank you. Are you alright, Mr. Tangaroa? You seem kind of spaced out. I'm fine. I think my blood sugar might be running a little low.
Samson.
You have anything that might give him a little energy boost?
Is this why the chocolates are so sweet?
Huh? Is that chocolate? For me?
Oh, those are the chocolates I
Wish I could just give them to you, Mr. Tangaroa, but the rules here don't exactly allow me to do so. Oh, that's such a shame. But rules are rules, I suppose. There must be some way we can hand them to him. Detective Bad is noting the meaningful looks in his direction.
Let me take a look at them. If they seem legit, I might consider passing them on to the suspect.
Thank you, Detective Bad. My hero. I'm touched. Thank you, Detective.
Yeah, whatever. Just sit tight. Here's your 3 measly chocolates.
Yeah. You don't know how much this means to me.
Yeah. Keep it down, will you? For both our sakes.
Of course, Detective. I wouldn't wish to put your livelihood at risk. Now, to sample these treats. Detective, I apologize for putting you in a tight spot.
I didn't do it for you. It was my car.
Guess you're not such a bad guy after all. Oh, the sweetness. I feel like a man reborn. Were they your handiwork, Judy?
Yes, how were they?
Feel them melt. Soft and smooth. Chocolate that'll comfort and soothe. ear to ear, head to toe. Smile and savor the taste as it flows. Delicious. They're not exactly beautiful, but they're sweet and oh so flavorful. Thank you, Judy.
I'm glad you like him.
I'm glad you're back to your old self. My apologies, friends. The food they serve here is just so flavorless. Between that and the lack of sleep, I was about ready to collapse from sheer despair.
Wow, is the food here really all that bad?
Just the usual. French fries, ham sandwich, stuff like that. Yes, and yet I couldn't taste a thing. Anyway, I'm heading back to the scene.
I bet they're from Burger King.
Before you go, Detective, have you any new information to share? Oh yeah, you were right about the victim's identity. Frost worked as a sculptor in France, there where he was known as Paul Halique. Artie Frost was Paul Halique? I never would have imagined.
Poor Mr. Halique.
So a famous French sculptor wasn't a Frenchman after all, huh? That would certainly explain why Mr. Halique was such a recluse and refused to show his face in public. He was busy working on his greatest masterpiece, apparently. Bunch of Zodiac statues. Guess he'll never finish them now. He never finished his greatest masterpiece? Nah, seems he was making statues for each season. Yeah, but he never got around to the winter constellations. Winter constellations? You mean Taurus and Gemini? So two he made out of ice would have completed the set. Yeah, and now they're nothing but puddles. What a bummer.
I'm so sorry.
Oh no, Miss Bound. I wasn't blaming you. One last thing. Seems he had himself a bit of a spending habit when it came to his work. Every statue cost him millions to make. Which means he was always strapped for cash. And we're checking to see if there's any chance someone called in a debt. I guess even famous artists are safe from money problems.
I feel like the opposite is more unlikely.
Do you have any idea who entered the confectionery contest? None. Guy didn't even tell his family. I see.
Guess he was hoping to win for the cash.
Alright, I really gotta get going. I'll go fetch another guard, but I can't be hanging around here any longer. Understood, Detective. We'll see you again shortly. He's a good man. He certainly is. An uncompromising one. Somebody who can be trusted to stand up for what he believes in. And to scare the pants off anybody new he meets. Now you're going to tell me about what you learned yesterday? Of course. Allow me to give you a full report. Thank you for that, and allow me to apologize on Judy's behalf.
So sorry.
It's fine, Mr. Tangaroa. As I told her yesterday, the important thing is that we learn the truth in the end. Now, would you mind if I asked you a question or two? By all means, I'll gladly share all that I can. What can you tell me about the contestants who took part in the final round of the contest? Let's see. There was Miss Scone. I loved her design concept. Unfortunately, her entry was in violation of the rules, and so I had to disqualify her. Mr. Gusto's creations were a perfect balance of flavor and design, at least up through the semi-final. But disappointingly, his entry for the final was subpar on both counts. And there was actually something a little unusual about his entry for the semi-final as well. Which was, it tasted identical to Mr. Frost's. They may have looked different, but I could have sworn I was eating the same thing. Huh? And what exactly does work look like? Oh, there should be a photograph back at my mansion.
I'll show it to you later, Miss Edgeworth.
Much appreciated, Miss Bound.
Why would it even remotely taste close to the same thing? One's ice, one was like cream or something. I thought Gusto was like into cream sculpting or whatever.
But Mr. Frost's entry for the finals, that was truly sublime. so you were able to finish judging it, even though his body had been discovered in the meantime. Yes, I wasn't aware of what happened until after I'd completed my assessment. Mr. Frost wasn't in his room when I visited, so I took the liberty of sampling a bit. A part of the lyre, I believe. I'd never tasted anything like it. It was all like a dream. I was so moved that I burst into song. I'm sorry, but you saying the lyre tasted good? I'd like to hear more about that if you don't mind. You're quite sure it was the lyre you tasted when you sampled Mr. Frost's work? I'm certain of it. It was part of the Gemini sculpture, which was the only sculpture in that display case. Mr. Tangaroy, would you mind taking a look at this photograph for me? So the part you tried was the lyre. The one shown here without any strings? Oh, there were strings originally. That was the part I ate. Wait, so what did Scone eat? So strings were missing because Mr. Tangaroy ate them all, and he enjoyed them. Miss Scone told us she ate part of the lyre as well, but she said it was far too salty for her to finish. Then it's true. The truth is, I've suspected for a while that there might be something wrong with my sense of taste. Something wrong with your taste and you're judging a dessert contest. I don't think that makes you really qualified, my guy. Something wrong? How so exactly? There's a taste disorder characterized by an inability to detect salty flavors, and I suspect I've been suffering from it. Well, that almost sounds like me. I eat so many sweet foods on a daily basis that it took a while for me to even notice. But there's no denying it now. That would explain why the food here seems so bland to him. Because he can't taste salt. I also seem to have problems tasting salt. Not to that degree. I wouldn't say I have a disorder. But, boy, if you put salt in something, I wouldn't know. Only if I, like, eat salt directly can I actually taste salt.
What? But your taste buds are your livelihood.
Even if there was some long-term treatment option, I highly doubt a total cure for your condition exists. Nevertheless, you should go to request to the police for a proper evaluation. Oh, that won't be necessary. I have a recipe for a cure back in my mansion. You do? I do. You can take a look at it yourself if you like.
Simpson, we can't show that recipe to just anybody.
Judy, Mr. Edgeworth is hardly just anybody. He's my attorney. They have no secrets from him.
Yes, you're right, of course. If that is what you wish.
What on earth is a secret recipe for a miracle cure that they've been hiding? We just happened to, like, develop a cure to, like, some super niche, ultra-specific disease.
Well, I suppose I should be getting back.
Alright, we'll be right behind you. Judy.
Yes, Samson?
There's more to life than just me. Please, Judy, think about the life you want to live, because I won't always be around.
Don't say that. Without you, I don't have a life to live. So I'll be waiting, right there at the mansion, until you come home. Now, if you'll excuse me.
Wait, Miss Bound. Judy. Whoa, she seemed really upset. I thought I saw tears in her eyes. Why'd you even say all that to her? Because I worry about her. She can't keep putting my needs ahead of her own. What do you mean? The Halit collection, the candy making. It's all because she thinks these things will make me happy. She never thinks about what she wants, what she likes. I just want her to be her own person and to choose her own destiny. The last thing I want is for her to miss out on all that life has to offer because of me. I guess that makes sense. He really does see her as his own child. What parent wouldn't want their child to walk their own path? What parent won't do everything they could to protect them? I know exactly how he feels in this moment. I think I've asked you of everything I can for now, Mr. Tangaroy. We should begin back to the scene of the crime. Oh, you're leaving? I see. I suppose I'll be going back to the interrogation room for another session. Ah, yes. We'll have to do something about that. You'll speak to the police for me? That too. But I'll be putting something else in place as well. An ace up our sleeve when the time comes. I look forward to learning more. I'm counting on you, Mr. Edgeworth. We'll be back to brief you, Mr. Tangaroa, every day. And Judy, too. Thank you, Eddie. I'll be looking forward to it. Mr. Tangaroa, your interrogator will do everything in his power to extract the confession from you. I hate to see an innocent man suffer like this. But please, you have to do everything you can to hold out. If you can't, Mr. Von Karma will use that confession against you for as long as this case lasts. And it'll make that much harder for me to save you. I understand, and I'll try. I won't give up until you're out of there, Mr. Tangaroa. You have my word on that. Something in the pond? Perhaps it's another body. Detective Bad, thank you again for what you did earlier. Yeah, thanks a ton. What are you talking about? There's no need to be shy about it. Never mind that now. I'm guessing you two are back here looking to investigate some more. We are indeed. We need some solid proof if we're going to save Mr. Tangaroa. Well, I hate to break it to you, but apart from this room, the whole place is on lockdown. What? But we need to see those other rooms. This is Mr. Von Karma's doing, I presume. Who else? I haven't seen the autopsy report yet either. Guy's probably got a hand in that too. Don't expect to speak with anybody, except us cops and Miss Bound. Everybody else is gone, and I doubt Von Karma will be handing out phone numbers. Is this all just a game to him? Why does he have to go so far? So what's your plan of action, Detective? Same as before. Do what I can to help you uncover the truth. Like I promised. You have my gratitude. Just you wait, Mr. Von Karma. We're gonna beat you and your bag of dirty tricks. Detective, may we conduct a brief investigation of the area? Sure, but like I said, everywhere else is off bounds. You probably won't be seeing those rooms again. That's fine. As long as there's at least some way of continuing our investigation, we'll make do. Finally, some investigating can start. Holy. It's like there's all this jumping around, and then like it feels like it took forever to get back to investigating. Oh, Bat's gonna tail me this time. Seems these instruments are used on Mr. Tangaroa and Miss Bound's TV show Bacon Bob. There's some of the few things here that aren't made of candy. Is it just me, or does the detective seem a little disappointed? Was he looking to like sample the drum set? It does look pretty tasty. Miss Bound, we're here to continue our investigation.
Oh, Mr. Edgeworth, I'm so sorry about earlier.
She's still looking kind of down in the dumps, Mr. E. She must have been greatly taken aback by what Mr. Tangaroa had to say.
I found the photograph of the semi-final entries for you. Here, it's all yours.
Oh, fancy. Wow, Miss Scone sure knows how to make a cute cake. Okay, I'm gonna guarantee she didn't make that cake. I betcha she bought that cake. Maybe she did a little decorating herself. I betcha she bought that cake though.
Yes, Samson loved her design for that one. And he loved the designs and flavors of Mr. Gusto and Mr. Frost's entries too. Only problem was, as Samson mentioned earlier, they tasted exactly the same. However, their respective entries for the final tasted nothing alike, it seems.
Oh, it's the semifinals that taste the same. I misunderstood earlier. I thought it was referring to the finals tasting the same. I was like, how is ice taste like cream? Was there anything else of note that changed between the semifinal and the final?
Nothing major, but I guess there was one thing. Mr. Gusto's son was always here with him throughout the contest, but he was nowhere to be seen during the final.
Why would his son come and hang out at a contest venue of all places? Sure you're happy for us to keep hold of this?
Of course. I hope it helps with your investigation. Oh, and I also have the book containing the recipe for the cure Samson mentioned.
Oh, that's what's in that book. Well, that makes that book a lot more lucrative. Now I can understand why someone might want it.
We've seen this book before.
That's the book that was in the chocolate picture frame that Scone sampled.
It was in the chocolate frame in Tangaroa's room.
That's right. He put it in display there so that everybody could see the grand prize.
What? The cure's in the ultimate cookbook? So it's not a book of dessert recipes, I take it.
Oh no, we told the contestants, of course. But I guess nobody told you yet.
So contestants all knew what the ultimate cookbook was this whole time.
A book of miracle cures. I guess that's why it's called the Angel's Cookbook. Book containing formulas for creating a cure for taste disorders and other chemical and pharmaceutical items.
I'd like to hear more about the cookbook if you don't mind, Miss Bound. So if I understand correctly, the Ultimate Cookbook is actually a collection of recipes for different medicines.
Exactly. Or rather, totally new medications that haven't made it to market yet, to be precise. To the right buyer, a pharmaceutical company, for example, it would be worth a fortune.
But, why make that the grand prize in the confectionery contest?
Mr. Tangaroa is the sole heir to the Tangaroa family fortune. And perhaps you've heard of the Tangaroa Group?
The Tangaroa Group? Yeah, I think I've heard of them somewhere before. It's a major pharmaceutical corporation. It sells all kinds of pills and poisons. Oh yeah, that new Cold Killer Pro has been making some real waves since it went on sale.
Oh, that's the stuff that, that was in, that was the stuff that Phoenix was taking during that one case, before he became a lawyer.
I always reach for a cold killer when I'm feeling under the weather. Which is never as far as I've seen. I'd like to hear more about the Tangaroa Group if you don't mind. So did Mr. Tangaroa not want to take over for his parents and go into the family business?
No, he preferred the idea of making people's lives better through the power of confectionery. And his parents supported him in his quest to become the best in the world. Then, when they passed away, he inherited the cookbook.
Why'd he make such a valuable heirloom the mere contest prize?
He's been hounded by so many people looking to make that book their own. He was tired of it. But it would have been an insult to his parents' memory simply to give it away. So he decided to find somebody he felt was worthy of it.
I'll bet the board of directors loved that. Handing over the fruits of all their expensive research to someone else.
They hated the idea, of course, which is why Delicia entered the contest. The Tangaroa Group wanted her to win the book back for them.
I almost smell a motive coming on.
So you knew she was a pharmacist all along?
Yes, and not only that, I told her how to appeal to Samson's tastes. I tried to help her win.
But why?
I wanted to protect Samson, by protecting the Tangaroa Group. If that cookbook fell into another company's hands, the board would never forgive him. So I wanted to find a way to keep it with the company, but in a way that Samson couldn't object to.
That's how Miss Scone managed to make it so far in a contest she had no business taking part in.
That might explain the similar taste in desserts in the semifinals.
But Miss Scone wasn't the only one pretending, was she? Mr. Frost wasn't really a confectioner either. And he still made it all the way to the final, just like she did. Not bad.
Yes, it was unbelievable, isn't it? Such a talented sculptor and a gifted crafter of desserts, too.
Did indeed, judged by the standard of his work in the final. But how did one man produce that size and quality in such a short period of time?
I'm not sure I have much more to tell you. But if there's anything else I can help you with, I'd be happy to, of course.
She's certainly very keen to ensure that she does all she can for Mr. Tangaroa. I could certainly use a cup of the tea you made us yesterday if you wouldn't mind. I think that might help move the investigation along nicely. Ooh, I'll have some too. Your tea is to die for, Miss Bound.
Well, how could I possibly refuse? I'll bring it out right out.
I'm guessing he's not here to drink tea, though.
You know, I think that cheered her up a little.
What is this ice cream supposed to be? Is that like... Oh, we can click on it.
There's a lie here. Some maracas designed to look like ice cream cones.
Oh, that makes sense.
So well made, it's hard to tell what's candy and what's not just by looking. I'd reach out and touch them, but then I'd be disturbing the crime scene. Ends off. How would he check them out? They're real. Check them out how exactly? Did you manhandle vital evidence, detective? I didn't touch them. Not with my hands, at least. Ew! What the fuck? Did he... Never mind. I don't want to picture it. Sign shows which artist's work is on display in which room. From left to right, Mr. Tangaroa, Mr. Gusto, Miss Scone, and Miss Frost. Incidentally, this sign is also made from candy. Oh, the sign's made from candy, though, but not the instruments. What were they going to do with all this candy? Was somebody going to eat it when the contest was over? It's like Willy Wonka's candy forest. No one eats it, it just sits there forever. I'm sure that smells great after a few weeks. Statues on the fountain depict cherubs enjoying some chocolate fondue. Well, the leaks work, apparently. Gotta hand it to him. It looks so real. Detective, are you saying you have personally seen cherubs before? Tony's always poking holes in people's woods. What? Did I do something wrong? Excuse me. May I ask what you're investigating? Sir, I'm analyzing the fountain water to see what might be in it, sir. And what did you find? Chocolate and what looks like the kinds of flavorings and colorings used in frozen desserts, sir. Is that where he got his water to make the ice sculptures? The composition of the chocolate seems to be the same as that of Mr. Tangaroa's work. Wait, why is there chocolate and flavored water in this fountain? Is the chocolate the base? Oh, I don't know about that one. Wet chocolate? Oh. And the flavorings and colorings match the profile of those used in Mr. Frost's ice sculptures. These little rivers flow from all four artists' rooms right here to this fountain. Yeah, I guess that's how the stuff from the melted sculptures wound up in there. Oh, it's like traces of it because yeah, the sculptures melted and they flew in. They flooded the river. They flowed into the river. And that's not all, sir. We also found blood. What? Why is there blood in the water? Think back to our investigation of the murder scene, detective. Take another look at the scene in front of us, detective. A very conspicuous pool of blood that should be here is clearly missing. That would also explain the chocolate then, because the blood was on chocolate. You're right. Don't remember anybody mentioned they removed the blood along with the body. Victim's blood was mysteriously absent, as was the part of the chocolate chest it had pooled on. I believe the blood probably belonged to... well, to the victim, no? Well, wait, we don't have the victim. Oh, yes, we do. I didn't know what he looked like. We've never seen his face.
Take that.
The victim, huh? I'll have the guy compare it with the blood on the murder weapon. Oh my god, it's the sound from Connections again. I think that's twice now that they've used that same sound. It's a Mitch. The blood in the fountain, it's Frost's. Why would somebody want to send the victim's blood downstream and into the fountain like this? Frost's blood was found in the fountain, but not at the scene of the crime. Oh, that's all we needed to investigate, eh? Alright. Nice and short. Straight to the point. We've learned a little more about the contestants' participants. There's still one question involving Mr. Gusto for which we never got an answer. Nothing at all, Mr. Gusto? You went to Mr. Frost's room, didn't you? Perhaps you could tell us why. Sure. I was, Oh, right, got cut off. By him. Silence! You are not to give the attorney even the tiniest shred of information. What was he doing in Mr. Frost's room? And that's not all. I also have questions about the work he submitted for the semifinals. A confectioner who admits to lacking design sense and the sculptor with it in spades. Mr. Gusto could not have hoped to win such a high-level contest by himself. Which is why I'm beginning to wonder if there was some sort of connection between him and Mr. Frost. Detective, I need to ask Mr. Gusto a few more questions. The story still doesn't quite add up for me. Me neither.
We need to figure out how to get in touch with him. Yeah, he's not gonna last at all.
Good luck with that, because I have no intention of allowing it. Mr. Von Karma, I am already in the midst of my own investigation into Gusto, so there is no need for the likes of you to pester him with the same questions again. I will, however, be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Seems dead set on preventing me from talking to Mr. Gusto. In which case, fine. Then allow me to take you up on your offer.
Very well. What is it?
I'd like you to tell me about the connection between Mr. Gusto and Mr. Frost. Oh, finally, an interrogation.
The connection between Gusto and Frost? It was simply a matter of coincidence. They both happen to be taking part in the same contest.
And that's all?
That's all I have to say to you.
What? But that doesn't help us at all. We'll have to confront him with evidence if we want to draw the truth out of him. And it's imperative that we do. He's clearly hiding something. Wow, 2 statements. This really is like 1-4 all over again.
Hold it.
Yes, there must have been a connection of some kind. And if you would cease your baseless interruptions, I will happily tell you what it is. If this were a courtroom, I would have you removed for contempt.
Isn't that solely the judge's purview? Yeah, a Judge Von Karma would probably have dancing to his tune. Yeah, probably not with money, just his sheer presence would scare the judge. What? Even judges are scared of him? Wouldn't be an easy trial, that's for sure. Please, Mr. Von Karma, continue.
Hold it.
Granted, it may have been a coincidence that they both entered the same competition. That doesn't rule out a connection of some other kind between the two of them.
I do hate to repeat myself, but if you do not have any pertinent evidence, then kindly keep your mouth shut.
Guess I'll just do as he says for now. At least until I find the evidence that proves Mr. Gusto and Mr. Frost's connection.
Still, the look in your eyes speaks volumes. Well, go on then. What are you trying to say?
Make up your mind, will you? Should I keep my mouth shut or not? Seems Mr. Von Karma is keen to keeping us away from the truth. Which means the truth must be inconvenient to him somehow, right? Mr. Gusto and Mr. Frost had something in common. I just need to present the thing they shared to Mr. Von Karma. The thing they shared to Mr. Von Karma. What thing is that? Oh, this thing? Frost and Gusto's creations had different designs but tasted the same.
Objection.
Well, it's not much of a connection, but it's something to start with. I wonder if you could look at the two confections in the foreground for me, Mr. Von Karma. They were made for the contest semifinals. Both are quite exquisitely crafted, wouldn't you agree?
Get to the point.
As the nameplate suggests, these were Mr. Gusto and Mr. Frost's entries. Mr. Gusto told us that the confection design was far from his strong suit. And yet his work in the picture is just as good as Mr. Frost's. Exactly as good, in fact. We learned from another witness their 2 entries also tasted exactly the same.
What are you suggesting?
I am suggesting that they were helping one another out. Let's take a closer look, shall we? Well, at first glance, the 2 may appear to be superficially different. It soon becomes apparent that there are significant similarities in how they were put together. They're made of the same ingredients, taste the same, and share a similar design aesthetic. This picture is proof that the two were working together.
If you figured out that much, I suppose there's little point in denying it.
Mr. Von Karma knew all along they were cooperating.
But I'll warn you, none of what you're about to hear will be to your advantage.
Are we sure about that? You're not worried in the slightest that it might be to your disadvantage?
Let me confirm what you seem so desperate to prove. Gusto and Frost were indeed working together. Gusto spelled out the details of his relationship to Frost during his questioning last night. It seems they were helping one another right up until the day before this final. So, you knew that the two were cooperating. Mr. Von Karma, why are you trying to bury the truth? Please, enough with the petty slander. I merely wanted to avoid you poking your nose around before I could provide proper context in court. It simply slipped my mind to explain that to you. Doesn't explain why he's being so slippery with the facts, though. I need to figure out what it is he's hiding. I can't let things end like this.
Oh, we got 3 this time. That's an improvement.
So you didn't know there was a connection between the two. Why were you trying to hide it? I don't just hand out information like candy. And certainly not to the defense. Not like that lollipop nursing fool of a detective over there. You do things your way, and I'll do things mine. And you wonder why I refuse to share information with a traitor like you.
Hold it.
Last night, after Mr. Frost's work melted, correct? Yes, I interviewed Gusto personally. Eesh, a one-on-one with Mr. Von Karma. That must have been terrifying. I imagine Mr. Gusto probably meditated his way through the difficult parts. He most certainly did not. Every time he closed his eyes, I brought him back with an almighty snap. No one dares to plead the fifth with me. Did I even work on him? And that is how I was able to perfectly learn every last detail of Gusto and Frost's relationship.
Hold it.
But why were they cooperating? Gusto's sense of design is subpar, and Frost was an amateur confectioner at best. Neither of them stood a chance of making it through the contest alone. So what was their endgame? Why cooperate until only the day before the finals? Gusto claims to have ended the scheme. Allegedly, he wanted to win the final on his own merits. His one and only goal really was to be crowned the world's best confectioner, and his pride would not allow him to do so with the help of another. These can only ever win hollow victories, I guess. I was under the impression that their collaboration only lasted through the semifinals, but I'm starting to think it might have lasted up until the finals itself. Mr. Von Karma, I'd like to ask you some more about how long they worked together for, if you don't mind. If you must.
I guess this is the new one.
Hold it.
Before you ask, I'm not objecting to your characterization of Mr. Gusto's design sense. Yeah, he admitted himself he isn't all that great. He made what alleged to be a likeness of me. Just think of the abomination he came out with. Turns my stomach. Yeah, I kinda like the guy's work. An artistically rich amateur and artistically impoverished professional. In a way, it was inevitable that they would wind up working together.
Okay, so I guess... Oh, did we do this one? I can't remember.
You really believe that they were cooperating until the day before the finals, and then they just simply stopped? That seems a little strange to me, wouldn't you agree? I've told you the truth. Whether you find it strange or not is not of my concern.
It's considered that they're trying to hide it from me only a few minutes ago, though.
Which means there must have been some reason for that. But based on Mr. Tangaroa's assessment, it sounded as if Mr. Frost's entry for the final was clear winner. Which means he must have still been working with Mr. Gusto, right? That's precisely what I was thinking. Must have some evidence that proves they were cooperating right up and through the finals.
Evidence that they were cooperating all the way.
They cooperated until the day before the finals, and then decided to compete on their own merits.
What would prove that they were still working together? Okay, let's take a look at this new photo. So Frost made a horse. Gusto made a bird. It's not really a horse, but it's kind of like a horse. Is there a chance that Frost just sucks at making bovine animals? Perhaps? So you asked him to help, I don't know, sculpt it maybe? I don't know, seems a little unlikely. A master sculptor not able to sculpt a horse? Yeah, right. Alright, what else we have here? Day before the final, and then decide to compete on their own merits. The liar which was salty. How do we prove they were working together on the finals? I mean, it could be this. Different designs, but tasted the same. Like, maybe he was only working on one statue and he got him to make the other? I feel like there's some relation between, like, the taste of the ice. Okay, what was his thing? Okay, it didn't say what kind of stuff he did. I think he did cream, right? To cooperate until the day before the final, then decide to compete on their own merits. Does it say anything in here? No. Well, I'm gonna go with this one. No, okay. That's not it. Okay, what else can we try doing here? To cooperate until day before the final, then decide to compete by themselves. Let me do the press again here. Told you the truth, whether you find it strange or not, it's not my concern. Who's concerned enough to try and hide it from me? Which means there must have been a reason for that. Based on his assessment, it sounded as if Mr. Frost's entry for the final was a clear winner. Some evidence that proves they were cooperating right up through the finals. Like, I feel like it's the designs somewhat, but I don't know. Doesn't seem like it, because, like, phoenixes have nothing to do with anything. How do I prove that they were working together? I don't think it's this. I think that's unrelated. Old news. Okay, so we tried this. Is it this? Because they taste the same, but that's the semifinals. That's not the finals, right? The liar which was salty. It could explain the taste.
Objection!
Yeah, okay, here we go. That would explain why the two were tasted different. They weren't working together during the finals? I find that a little hard to believe. Mr. Gunner's on the record as having described Mr. Frost's creations as scrumptious. And while he was certainly skilled, I doubt even he could become a world-class confectioner overnight. It seems far more likely that he and Mr. Gusto were still cooperating during the finals. How many times must I explain this to you? Assertions require proof, and one person's entire
Elite subjective statement is not proof of anything. Besides, even amateurs can occasionally make delicious food. Perhaps Frost was simply lucky. My wife, for example, is an amateur whose cooking puts first-class chefs to shame. How is that not an entirely subjective statement? Furthermore, you are ignoring another crucial part of the pharmacist's testimony. Namely that she also describes some of Frost's work as having been unbearably salty. In other words, your evidence actually shows that Frost failed to produce the perfect confectionery. No more objections, I take it? Must be some way I could prove that Gusto and Frost were still collaborating. Mr. E? Something's been on my mind. Yes? What is it, Eddie? Mr. Frost's entry for the finals. Would it have taken a while to make? I would imagine so. Making flavored water, freezing it all, and then carving tool sculptures? Could he really done all that and help Mr. Gusto with his work? If it was me, I'd have barely gone as far as selling the flavored water up to the freeze part. I just can't see how Mr. Frost could have pulled it off. Perhaps there's some lawyerly instinct in you after all, Eddie. Ponder would certainly point to another possibility. Eddie's right. Mr. Frost would have needed to freeze his own large blocks of flavored ice to create his art. There wouldn't have been any time left to do that during the contest itself. So what must Mr. Frost have done in order to finish his flavored ice entry within the time limit? Make it the day before the final? He must have made the flavored ice the day before. Then all he would have had to do was sculpt it. What are you muttering about now? Oh, I'm sorry. I just realized something, that's all. I realized that you're correct. What? Mr. E? I hope you know what you're doing. Oh? Accepting defeat at last, are we? The only thing I'm accepting is that perhaps one of the things you said was true. They were helping each other right up until the day before the final. Just as you said, the day before the final really did mark the end of their collaboration. Mr. Frost's entry carved entirely from blocks of flavored ice. Ice which would have needed at least a day to freeze. And whose flavors would therefore have already been prepared by Mr. Gusto. Yes, which lines up perfectly with what Gusto told me. That he helped Frost until the day before the final. In that case, why didn't Mr. Frost reciprocate and help Mr. Gusto in return? I can hardly be expected to read the minds of the dead.
Objection.
Perhaps not. I expect Mr. Gusto could tell us. So why don't you let us speak with him? Or do you still insist your interrogation was as thorough as you claim? How dare you call my methods into question? It's not my intention. I just don't understand why you would obstruct a perfectly valid line of inquiry. Give me one good reason as to why you're keeping Mr. Gusto from me. One good reason? Certainly. How would why Frost and Gusto's collaboration have absolutely no bearing on this case?
Objection.
You're telling me a guy who had a direct connection with the victim? No connection there. Completely irrelevant. Okay. How can you possibly say that with any certainty? If their relationship had broken down for some reason, that could very well have been the motive behind this murder. Could it indeed? Then why did Gusto himself tell me all about it? Why did the man you seem so keen on accusing share the details of his collaboration with the prosecution? Please tell me you have some proof to back up your preposterous suspicions this time. Mr. Gusto only acted suspiciously one time that we know of. I imagine Mr. Von Kamm is aware of exactly what that suspicious action was. Which means, this is probably a trap. Well, cat's got your tongue. But even if this is a trap, I can't back down now. Mr. Gusto snuck into Mr. Frost's room, and we still don't know why. The fact alone is reason enough to suspect him. If that's your only concern, then allow me to clear it up for you. I knew it. It was a trap. I was saving this for the trial, but consider it a taste of things to come. Plus, I'd hate for the proceedings to drag on because of your needless interjections. Here, take a look at this.
Oh, what the hell is this?
That's Gusto and Frost, and their sons.
Photo of Frost, Gusto, and their sons. Gusto's son visited his father daily up through the semifinal.
Gusto snuck into Frost's room in order to retrieve this photograph. But why? It seems their sons attended the same elementary school. Gusto was concerned at the fact that Mr. Frost and his acquaintance might place him under unique suspicion. A concern that you have just proven was entirely well-founded. Gusto's actions make perfect sense, and you have given me no reason to believe otherwise.
Classic Von Karma trap. Yeah, rookie mistake. Everyone who faces off against him for the first time makes it.
He's never going to let me talk to Mr. Gusto. Now, if you're quite done obstructing my investigation, I have things to be getting on with. That smug, self-righteous jerk. I'll give him something to be getting on with. What do we do, Mr. E? Mr. Tangaroa is finished if we can't figure something out.
Things to be getting on with?
What exactly could those things be?
He has a body, a murder weapon, and a suspect in custody. If the prosecution means to pursue Mr. Tangaroa, surely they have all they need. So why is Mr. Von Karma still investigating the scene of the crime?
Something's on your mind, Mr. E?
We're missing something. Something important. Mr. Von Karma has everything he needs to proceed with the prosecution of Mr. Tangaroa. And yet, he still doesn't seem entirely confident of his case. If he was, why refuse to share information with Detective Bat? Well, haven't seen the autopsy report yet either. Guess probably got a hand at that too. 24 hours post-murder and there's still no autopsy report. That is a little weird. You know, anytime any other known and attorneys come on the scene, they get the autopsy report like first thing. In addition, we still haven't solved the mystery of what happened to the evidence that went missing. Take another look at the scene in front of us, Detective. A very conspicuous pool of blood that should be here is clearly missing. Sounds like the blood all got washed down the drain. You're right. Don't remember anybody mentioning they'd remove the blood along with the body. Evidence had turned up not in Mr. Tangaroa's room, but in a most unusual place. It's a match. The blood in the fountain is Frost's. So there are no traces of Mr. Frost's blood left in Mr. Tangaroa's room. And we found some in the fountain instead. Why? Mr. Frost's blood went missing from the crime scene. Traces of it showed up in the fountain. Why go to the trouble of removing the blood from the scene after the body had been discovered? And why only the blood? Surely the body would have also been in the way. Wait. Could someone have moved the body aside to get to the blood? How did someone manage to tamper with the crime scene, though, during this time? Unless it was him! Is that why there's no autopsy report? So the body might have been moved aside, or even removed from the scene of the crime entirely. After all, as far as we know, there's still no autopsy report. We've learned plenty about the murder weapon and the suspect, but very little about the body itself. Our assumption thus far has been that the body had been recovered by the forensics team. What if that assumption is false?
What if Mr. Von Karma wouldn't show Detective Bad the autopsy report out of something other than spite? What, we've been thinking about this the wrong way all around all along. Question isn't why Mr. Von Karma didn't hold... Question isn't why did Mr. Von Karma hold back information about the body. It's, did Mr. Von Karma even have any information about the body in the first place? How do things look from that angle? Perhaps the body hadn't been removed by the police in order to carry out an autopsy. Perhaps it had already been removed and hidden away by the culprit before their arrival.
So now they're missing the body. That would be pretty embarrassing.
Mr. E? We both heard the rumors about Mr. Von Karma's questionable methods. Fabricated witness statements, shady deals, forged evidence even. Sure, everybody's heard of that stuff. But what's that got to do with us right now? I would never judge a person on the basis of rumors alone. Even Mr. Von Karma. I've tried my best not to let my preconceptions color our interactions with him. Nonetheless, it appears he may be willing to twist the truth of his own ends. Twist the truth? You mean he's been playing dirty? I figure he might have been, and still is. And I'm not about to let him get away with it. I'm returning to the prosecutor's office. Don't breathe a word about anything to that infernal attorney. Yes, sir.
Hold it.
Yeah, you ain't going anywhere, my guy. I got some questions for you.
Yes? What is it now? I have a few questions, Mr. Von Karma, about a certain fact you've been keeping from us.
Time to go all Columbo on his ass.
Really? You mean to call the methods of an officially sanctioned investigation into question yet again? I'm warning you. If you obstruct the police in their work any further, there will be consequences. It's not the police I have an issue with, Mr. Von Karma. It's you. What? Isn't it on the prosecution to work out who the real culprit of a crime is? What foolishness is this? I have no intentions of debating what the prosecution's role is or not with the likes of you. But let me make one thing clear. My job is to identify suspects and ensure that every last one of them is convicted at all costs. Believe me when I say I leave absolutely no room for doubt when I present my perfect, unassailable cases.
Objection.
And how far would you go for your perfect cases? Would you, create facts out of old cloth, perhaps? And I thought you had outdone yourself already. But now you intend to accuse me of fabricating evidence?
I do. Because it's why you've done nothing but hinder Detective Bad from doing his job at every turn.
What are you talking about? You didn't shut him out of the investigation because you wanted to keep an eye on us. You didn't stop him from finding out that you don't have the body. He doesn't have the body? Ridiculous! You're clutching at straws. I will tolerate no more of your preposterous slander.
Then allow me to examine it.
Prove me wrong if you can. I'm afraid you'll have to try a little harder than that. I am under no obligation whatsoever to prove your baseless accusations one way or another.
Objection.
As you must have seen for yourself, a piece of bloody chocolate is missing from the scene of the crime. Why did it disappear? And where did it go? What does it matter? Some blood went missing from the chest when the body was found. So what? So what indeed? That's precisely my question. The body was still at the scene when the police got here. Removing the blood would have accomplished nothing. However, let's suppose for a moment that the body was not. Someone had wanted to erase any trace of what had happened in that room. No, it makes perfect sense. What is this petty obsession with the bloodstain? But since it's so important to you, why don't you tell me where you believe it went? Of course, after all, evidence is everything, as you never tire of telling us. I believe this should back up my theory quite nicely.
Where the blood went Oh. That, we don't have the police? Uh-oh. What evidence do I have that shows where the blood from Mr. Tangaroa's room went? Oh, here. This one.
Take that.
I thought that was something else for a second. Traces of the victim's blood were found in the fountain, along with traces of the chocolate from Mr. Tangaroa's room. I believe the missing piece of the blood-stained chocolate was dumped into the stream that flows into the fountain, which strongly points to one certain fact. Someone purposefully disposed of the blood after the body had been removed from the chest. What if it was Mr. Von Karma? Doesn't he have like a history of doing that sort of thing? Mr. Von Karma, where did you find the body? You didn't find it, did you? Answer me! You? Where did you get your hands on that kind of evidence? You have neither the authority nor the means to carry out that kind of analysis on the water fountain.
No, but I do.
Curse you, Bad! You've been a thorn in my side from the moment you were assigned. Well, no longer. As of now, you are officially off the case.
I was barely on it in the first place.
Mr. Von Karma, you still haven't answered my question.
Will you admit it? Will you confirm that the body was ever recovered?
It's really quite the claim, you know. One that you'll never find any proof for, I'm afraid.
Must like do to get an answer out of him.
Now, if you don't mind, I've given you quite enough of my precious time already. I look forward to destroying you in court, Gregory Edgeworth. Your precious logic and theories won't save you then. Nothing will.
Mark my words, Mr. Von Karma. Your methods will be your undoing. No matter how hard you try to hide the truth, I'll bring it all to light in the end.
Even if it takes another, like, 16 years for it to happen. If you know what I'm saying.
Forgive me, Detective. I didn't mean to put you in a difficult position. Don't sweat it. It was always gonna end this way. Honestly, nobody's ever sidelined me the way he did before. First time for everything, huh? You know, I think you might be right about the body being missing.
I am, and I'll prove it in court.
Well, if there's anything I can do to help, just say the word. Yeah, since, yeah, you know, I'm off the case now.
It's very kind, and I'm sorry to keep asking favors of you, Detective Bat, but there is one more thing. Hey, what are you guys whispering about? Ah, come on, let me in on the secret.
Alright, Eddie. A detective and I were just arranging a little, insurance for the trial. I think we might have enough to see Mr. Tangaroa acquitted, but I prefer to have an ace in the hole, just in case.
And? What is it?
You'll find out in the courtroom.
Wait, what? You'll let me join you?
Of course I am. You are my assistant after all.
I'll be more than that by next year. I'll be a full-fledged attorney, you know. We could take on Mr. Von Karma together.
Indeed. Well, I'm hoping we'll have freed Mr. Tangaroa by then. But if we're up against Mr. Von Karma, I guess we can't rule out the possibility this might take some time.
Right, but we'll do everything we can in the meantime. I know you can beat Mr. Von Karma, Mr. E. I believe in you.
We can't allow Mr. Tangaroa to remain in prison for a crime he didn't commit. And we won't. I'll expose Mr. Von Karma's lies if it's the last thing I do.
Where is it? Oh, we're going back to the present, right? Why did it feel like it ended really fast? Oh, the identity of the body. Alright. Who died in the fountain today? That's pretty much how things went down. Those are the facts of the I-7 as far as I'm concerned.
I'm finally learning the truth about my father's last case.
So what happened at the trial?
Well, we lost. Von Karma did a real number on us.
Really?
You can prove that Mr. Tankaro is innocent?
Oh, we could prove it, right? Had a decent little pile of evidence in our favor. Problem was, we underestimated Von Karma. Fought even dirtier than we'd feared.
I can imagine. Secure a conviction at all costs. That was always his guiding principle.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? Anywho, trial dragged on and on. Whole thing took about a year in the end. I'll never forget the day the verdict came down. December 28th that following year. It's April now, so... Ooh, mama, we're talking over 17 years ago. Time sure does fly, huh?
December 28th. I was there that day 17 years ago, sitting in the courtroom gallery.
Just before the trial got started, Gregory noticed that Samson was looking even worse than usual. It turns out the poor guy had finally reached his limit. It was so bad even he said he wanted to be found guilty.
Wait, you mean they forced the confession out of him?
Yeah, Karma got what he'd been pushing for from the very beginning. And when Gregory tried to drop the bombshell about there being no body to speak of, I learned that Von Karma had used the power of the police to hit him off at the pass. He even had himself a fake autopsy report. That wasn't the end of it. Von Karma had gotten Samson to falsely testify against himself to bring an accessory to murder in court. Combined with his confession, poor guy's goose was well and truly cooked. But Gregory still had an ace in the hole, though.
The same ace he asked Detective Bad to help him with?
Exactamundo. He knew he needed one last card to play if they squeezed a confession out of Samson. So he had Bad record all of Samson's interrogations.
I guess Detective Bad really wanted to know the truth too, huh?
We all did. He was a trooper. Stayed with the case even after Von Karma took him off it. Beside him some other big case too. Good old Bad. They don't make him like that anymore. Anyway, Gregory presented the recordings as proof that Samson's confession was coerced. And you know what? It almost worked. A cop named Ian Sideman got fired.
Inside man.
Samson's interrogator and the initial detective before Bad took the fall for pretty much the whole thing. But Von Karma didn't get away scot-free. In fact, he was disciplined by the chief prosecutor.
The one and only time in his 40-year career.
Still, Samson himself couldn't stomach another day in court. So when that guilty verdict came down, it didn't just signal the end of that day, but the whole sad affair.
I remember a lot myself, my father's face when they declared Mr. Tangaroa guilty. I was a young child at the time, but even I could tell how much it was hurting him inside.
Gregory wanted to appeal the ruling, of course. He would have done anything to clear Samson's name. Then, well, you know what happened next. Poor guy. Never got a chance. I should have left with him that day. I always blame myself for not doing that. But I shoved that aside and obsessed over something else instead. Or, rather, someone else. I hated what you did. Hated you for not choosing to stick with Von Karma.
But why did he give him to him in the first place then? Because I'm assuming that's... Why would you leave him there? If you hated Von Karma so much, why didn't you go to literally anyone else that was willing to take in a kid?
I hope you can forgive me.
No. You had every right to hate me. I went on to become a prosecutor as planned. That's when Mr. Von Karma showed me this case file. According to these records, Mr. Tankaro was convicted as the main culprit in Mr. Frost's murder.
Nope. That's not right. Samson was convicted as an accessory to murder.
Strange. The file clearly states that he was the perpetrator. Plus, I'm very certain that all of Mr. Von Karma's cases were successfully solved.
Mind if I take a peek at those? This file's been doctored. The part about the verdict. It's been changed. What? Here, feast your peepers on this.
Samson Tangaroa, age 39, organizer of confectionery contest. Victim's body was found inside one of his creations, leading to his arrest. While in detention, Tangaroa discovered that he had taste disorder, which is subsequently cured via medication. Verdict: convicted as an accomplice based on his confession.
Convicted as an accomplice? That's a copy of the file they have on record at the courthouse. Then why is my copy so different? Well, you said it came from Von Karma, yeah? My guess is he didn't want Gregory's son to think there was a murderer out there still at large. Didn't want you looking into it again before the statute of limitations was up. So everything I believed about the case was a lie? Like they say, we all gotta start somewhere. What's important is that you know what's what now. Statute of limitations may have run out, but the truth's still out there, you know? I inherited Samson's case when your old man passed. Prosecution handed it off to somebody else too. The great Von Karma wasn't going to bother facing off against a rookie like me, was he? Anyway, long story short, the killer was never found. Samson was found guilty instead.
That's terrible. Is there really nothing we can do to help him?
Not without the real perp, I'm afraid. Until then, his confession stands. Yeah, speaking of which, I didn't find out until after the verdict had been handed down, but Von Karma had threatened Samson and made him a deal. Told him if he didn't confess, he'd make sure Judy was convicted instead.
I bet it's gonna turn out that Judy is the actual killer. In both crimes.
How could he?
Samson knew there was no way Judy could have done it, of course. But he wasn't gonna take any chances. So he did what he was told and confessed to keep her safe. Now, riddle me this, Milesy boy. Why do you think your Uncle Eddie just happened to be in the prison the day Bronco Knight died?
That's right.
You were there to see Mr. Tangaroa. Bingo. Judy and I both promised we'd visit him every day. I didn't quite keep that promise, but Judy did. She never missed one visit in all these years. Come rain or shine, she always showed up. But none of that changed the fact Samson's still being unduly punished day after day.
How heartbreaking. We gotta do something, Mr. Fender.
Well, kiddo, that's actually why we came here. The ice sculptures are back on display, just like they were all those years ago. And we're going to see what we can find out. Right, Mauserino?
I'm a prosecutor, Fender. I don't look at these things the same way as you or my father. That doesn't matter right now. Speaking not as a prosecutor, but as Miles Edgeworth, I want to know the truth behind both of these cases, and I'm not leaving it until I do.
You really are old Gregory's son through and through. Alrighty then. Now that that's sorted, we can really get to work. Good thing I brought the IS-7 case file and evidence with me today, huh? Here, documents first. Who doesn't love paperwork, am I right? The parts in red ink are my annotations. Thank you, Fender. And here's some evidence for you. Enjoy. It's quite a few, so I'd take a minute to scope them out if I were you.
Small mountain of evidence from the IS-7 incident received from Fender. Yes, I see. I'll take a look at them in a bit.
You know, our current case is just full of loose threads, come to think of it.
Indeed. The key players of that incident 18 years ago who just happened to get caught up in another incident. The ice sculptures in the Winter Wing that are perfect replicas of the ones from 18 years ago. The poison gas attack in the Autumn Wing, which has been disguised to look like the Winter Wing. The two chemicals that were found inside the Pisces statue display case, ubiquium and asphyxium, that form a poisonous gas when mixed together. The victim of the gas attack, Carmelo Gusto, who's no stranger to the events of 18 years ago, and who is still unconscious and undergoing treatment in the medical room. And finally, we come to the body floating face down in the fountain.
and the fact that the ice sculptures have melted, just as they did all those years ago. The events of the present day would appear to be intimately linked to the events of the past, which means they may be able to help us learn more about what happened 18 years ago.
Sounds good to me. Let's get investigating.
You're here? Why are you here?
Oh, no you don't. Are you forgetting somebody? I could have sworn this is my investigation. Eustace is quite right. I do hope you aren't intending to obstruct him in his duties, Mr. Edgeworth. I would hate to have to add a guilty to my report to the committee.
What am I guilty of now? Of course not. I'm simply offering once again to do what I can to help with this investigation.
Your offer is duly noted and duly declined. She isn't pulling any punches. The identity of the body from the fountain is currently being ascertained. It is only a matter of time until we have all the information we need.
Perhaps I can help you speed that process along. I think I have an idea of who our mystery victim might be.
What? Really? You have to tell me. It's the law.
Very well. Maybe it isn't just the ice sculptures that have resurfaced after 18 years. The body in the fountain may also be a visitor from the past.
No way. Is it?
Take that!
I believe the body in the fountain is that of the man who was murdered here 18 years ago. Mr. Artie Frost.
What? You're saying that was poor Chillywinks? Wait, who the heck is Chillywinks or Artie or whoever it is you're talking about? Artie Frost was a famous sculptor, Eustace, although he was better known as Paul Helique. Sculptures on display here are all his works.
No way. Sounds like he did well for himself. Always good to encounter a fellow winner.
Mr. Frost was also the victim in the I-7 incident.
Cavell knows about the I-7 incident.
I mean, she works for the committee. I think it's pretty... It seems highly likely that she would know all these big cases that have happened. I mean, I don't know how long she's been working there, but still.
Mr. Edgeworth, the I-7 incident is an 18-year-old case, and according to police records, the victim's body was recovered, and an autopsy duly carried out.
Sure, that's what the records say. The art records can't always be trusted.
What are you insinuating?
That while the records say stuff like, body totally recovered, defense back then begged to differ. Not that it stopped the prosecution from shutting them down hard, of course.
Yeah, this is winner. What? Really?
What is it, Eustace?
The body. We've got an ID. Alright, and who is it? Some sculptor called Frost or something. So I guess Edgeworth called it.
Goddess of justice.
So my father's deductions were right all along. Well, Judge Cavell, I'd say this changes things, won't you? Perhaps now you'll admit that I might be of use to this case. More than a certain junior prosecutor, anyway.
No fair. You're trying to steal the win.
I'm doing no such thing. All I want is to uncover the truth. And if we're going to get to the bottom of what happened here, we'll need to work together.
We do not need to do anything, and you do not need to know the truth. This case is none of your concern.
Whoa there, Judge G. I think you might be wrong about that.
Another of your interruptions, Mr. Fender.
Yep, see, I was on the defense team for I-7, so this case is very much my concern. I was one of the pesky kids pushing the theory that the body had actually gone missing. The prosecutor at the time may have brushed us off, but you can't deny the testimony of your eyes. Or to put it a little more bluntly, the prosecution's case was rotten from the ground up. When there's been a miscarriage of justice caused by the prosecution, it's the committee's job to fix it, no? And who better to help you unpick the mess than someone who was there at the time? Unless you have, an ulterior motive.
secretly still working for Von Karma, perhaps. From the shadows.
Judge Gavelle seems to know the facts of the I-7 incident in some detail. In which case, I suspect she must be here on the committee's behalf.
Your connection to the case is noted, Mr. Fender, but I fail to see how it concerns Mr. Edgeworth.
He's the son of the original defense attorney, the protege of this case's lead prosecutor. And if that's not enough for you, he was at the trial too. I think it's just possible he might have a little something to bring to the table, don't you?
Very well. You may both assist in the investigation, but only if you refrain from interfering with the work of others. The Winter Wing is off limits for now. This room, however, is all yours.
Alrighty. Great to hear we're on the same wavelength, G. Why don't we bring it in to show we're all on the same side of justice?
Do not test me, Mr. Fender. Your permission to investigate can be revoked at any time.
Duly noted, Your Honor. So turn up for the bucks, huh, Mozzie? We get to do our thing after all. Thanks to your immeasurable help as always. No sweat. Besides, I was mostly doing it for me. Okay. I'll be investigating my own thing, so just holler if you find something interesting. I will.
Is there more blood in the fountain? I guess we should check the fountain first.
Well, okay. Shall we?
Heck yeah, the investigation commence.
We're still unclear on two key facts. How Mr. Frost's body came to be where we found it and the source of the ubiquium.
You're right, we need some more intel.
Indeed. Let's focus on the ubiquium first and foremost.
It's used in stuff like dish soap and paint, right?
Correct. It's also bright red in color and has a distinctive minty fragrance.
Doesn't really explain what it was doing on the top of the ice sculpture box, though.
Okay, sounds like we know what we're looking for.
Let's see if we can find it. Maybe it's in the water. Body's been taken back to the lab, sir. Autopsy's underway.
And how's the rest of the fountain looking?
Rather beautiful, actually, sir. Water's crystal clear and kind of soothing.
Almost as if there wasn't a body floating in it not long ago,
A little weird, but okay.
Ooh, snacks! Miss Bound's tea set is laid out neatly on the serving cart.
Pamphlet says the gallery's famous for its tea.
Understandably so. The cup we were given was delicious.
Looks like all this stuff was designed by Mr. Frost.
Interesting. In that case, I think we better take a closer look. This dishware is made by Artie Frost.
It looks very fancy.
Oh, it is. I'm willing to bet this set can fetch something into the thousands of dollars. So let's try not to touch any of it unless we absolutely have to.
Whoa, this stuff's really worth that much?
Stop it, Kay. I can see your eyes lighting up. Miss Bound must be really a fan of Mr. Frost like Fender said to still have this.
We didn't have the teapot in the organizer from all the small mountain of files of evidence that we got from the previous case.
Hey, Edgy! What is it? You better be careful of that teapot you hear. Why is Larry so concerned all of a sudden?
Honored guests. I can pour you a cup if you like.
Miss Bound.
Judy! I'm good, thanks. No tea for me. You two knock yourselves out.
Thank you for the offer. Yes, why not? A quick break won't hurt.
2 cups coming right up. It smells great. Wow, it tastes even better than it smells. What type of tea is this, Mr. Edgeworth?
It's Ceylon, I believe. It's usually identifiable by its citrus aroma, but... Miss Bound, is this the same blend you served this morning?
Why, yes. Is it alright? There isn't anything wrong with it, is there?
Oh no, not at all. It's just that the cup you gave me earlier had a slightly different aroma.
Interesting. Yeah, maybe she didn't clean the cups properly.
Really? That's odd. I used the exact same blend both times. I can't see what could account for the difference.
Hey, what's the big idea? Quit being mean about Judy's tea, will you?
What's gotten under your skin, Larry?
Nothing. You're just rude, that's all. You don't even try to call me by the right name. It's Maurice Dunim, dang it. You know what? I'm done. I'm not talking to you anymore.
Well, that was childish, even for him.
Wow, what happened there?
Let's ask him about it later, shall we? Talking to Miss Bound is more of a priority right now. We don't even have any evidence to prove she's the culprit. It does seem likely that the poison gas was her doing. The tablecloth draped over the cart is pure white and completely spotless.
It's just waiting for me to grab it by the edge, clear my mind, and whoosh!
Hey, I cannot stress enough how bad of an idea that would be.
Oh, come on, what's the worst that can happen?
You completely fail the trick, and everything goes crashing to the floor. I hope for your sake those cups are made of metal.
If it does go all sideways, we'll just wind up with a cool tea-colored dye-dye.
Yes, well, I'd rather it remained white. Plus, I don't think Miss Bound would appreciate us meddling with it.
Really? But there's so many other colors that would totally work. Pink, sky blue, tea leaves brown.
No.
Is this the tea?
Caddy containing Ceylon tea leaves. It's a well-crafted tin canister designed to prevent moisture and sunlight from damaging its contents. Not a bad thing to use considering the quality of the blend Miss Bound serves.
Is that it?
For now, anyways.
What the hell is this on the floor?
And the color and the aroma, I'd say this is a puddle of spilt tea.
And look, there's a small chunk of ceramic in it.
Uh-oh. Did someone break a cup? Someone can't be happy.
I guess somebody must have broke something.
I know that insignia. And a certain high-strung somebody just might know a little something too.
Okay, we need to talk to Judy, of course, but let's examine the room first, because that might be more important.
Those are tulips by the door, right, Miss Edgeworth?
Yes, it leads to the spring wing.
Ah, spring. Popular time to move house. Which makes it open season for great thieves.
Housebreaking is a little beneath a great thief, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I guess you're right.
What if it's a mansion, though? Is that good enough?
Statues of a man and a woman in old-timey clothes. Did Paula Leak make these as well?
Yes, it seems he created them later in his life, once he had begun to make a name for himself. His wife pushed him to sculpt the two of them as ancient gods, and he couldn't say no to his beloved. Now the title is The Beautiful Goddess Venus and Her Humble Servant.
Wow, talk about putting your goddess on a literal pedestal. It's a man with a moon-shaped head and a woman with a sun-shaped head. The man's got a real look in his eyes, though. Is this another Paula Leak piece?
Yes, from his younger years, when he was something of a dreamer. He depicted those closest to him by means of a motif taken from nature. The piece is titled, My Parents.
Guess the mom shone brightest in that house.
Ah, it's only the one piece of art. How about over here?
Sculpture of a brave warrior battling against a serpent. Did Paula Leak make this one too, Mr. Edgeworth?
He did. It seems he was fascinated by fantasy and mythology when he was a young man. This piece embodies the tragic yet gritty determination of the young as they face an impossible situation. It's called The Math Test.
I think he could probably use a little work on his naming scheme for some of his art. I get that it's art and all, but there's limits to these things.
Talk about relatable.
I'm going to keep this simple, Larry. You're hiding something, so just tell me what it is.
First you turn down the tea, then you get mad when we criticize the tea.
Well, quit it with the glare off, you two. It's weird.
Oh, come on, Kay. You know me better than that. I wasn't staring, I was struck by an idea for a picture. Now, Edgy, he was glaring.
Yes, and I'll keep glaring at you until you tell us what it is you're hiding.
Ah, quit it, I already told you I'm not talking to you anymore.
You're talking to me right now.
I mean, from now on, I'm not talking to you ever again. Starting now.
This is getting me nowhere. I suppose I'll have to figure out what he's hiding first before I can get the whole truth out of him. Come on, Larry. What are you hiding? Not saying.
Look, you two. It's no time for kids' games.
Well, I certainly wasn't playing.
It's pretty clear Loris isn't gonna talk to you.
Oh, he'll talk. Don't you worry about that. Need to know what Larry's hiding, and I think I might have an idea of what it is. Perhaps presenting him with the right piece of evidence will force him to come clean.
Yeah, I think we all know what's going on here, right? I mean, he was standing right in front of the mess.
Would you mind taking a look at this for me, Larry? Why would you show me that? Tell me, what is it about Mr. Brown's tea set that got you so agitated? If you won't tell me, then perhaps you prefer to explain to Judge Gavel. Wait, don't make me look bad in front of Verity. She thinks I'm a sensible, cool, clean-cut guy. I don't want to see the real me, the real low-down, dirty me. I'm not so sure anybody here thinks you're particularly clean-cut, Larry.
Also, if you lie to a judge like that, I think she's gonna have you in contempt of whatever court she thinks you're a part of right now.
If you don't want her to think badly of you, the best thing you can do is talk to me. Alright, I'll talk. Alright, Larry, enough is enough. Now confess. Is this any way to treat your best friend, Edgy? Is this any way for you to treat yours? By lying to him? Hiding things? I get the pitch already, so stop glaring at me like that. I'll tell you everything, okay? Earlier, I thought Verity might like a cup of tea, so I went to pour one for her. But I got distracted and my hand slipped and smash! I broke the teapot. A priceless work of art. It's in pieces because of me. No words to exist to describe how far away I saw this coming.
Ouch, you really messed up this time, Loris.
See, Edgy, everyone's gonna think less of me now.
Is there anything left for people to think of you?
Judy's never gonna forgive me for this. Crying to me won't do you any good. I think you need to apologize to Miss Bound.
My teapot. I see.
I'm sorry, Judy. I'm so sorry. I don't have any money, but I'll paint your portrait. I'll paint you 50 portraits.
Please, Mr. Donim, it's really me who should be apologizing. How could I have failed to notice that there were broken pieces of ceramics on the floor? Somebody could have been hurt. Here, let me make sure it's safely disposed of.
The teapot in question was designed by Artie Frost, correct? I understand it was something you've long treasured. You must be upset.
Oh, I am. But of course, all things break eventually. And as luck would have it, I have another identical teapot. It's far from the end of the world.
Is she less attached to Mr. Frost's work than she used to be? I can't believe this, Judy. Oh, you're the sweetest, the kindest. This other teapot you're talking about, it's the one sitting on top of the cart right now, right?
What do you mean?
Yeah, so when I smashed the first one, I tried to hide the pieces in the bottom of the cart. And that's when I saw the other pot under there. So I took it out and basically switched the two pots.
Oh, I see.
Yep, that's everything I have to tell you. I'll be extra careful not to break the other one, I promise. You have no shame whatsoever, do you? I'm sorry.
It's really quite alright. Thank you for being so honest.
See, Edgy, isn't Judy just the absolute best? I trust you won't take advantage of her kindness and will make amends somehow. I sure will. Once I make her as an artist, I'm gonna give her one of my paintings. She was one of my models, after all. It's only fair. At this rate, I suspect he'll likely make more trouble than amends. Don't you think it would be better for you to keep out of her way for a very long while? Oh, but I will be keeping out of her way, because I sketched her and the others already. Her and the others? Keen to see my work, huh? Yeah, I drew a few good sketches of some ravishing beauties. Wanna see?
Interested in Loris's ravishing beauties, huh, Miss Edgeworth?
I'm afraid you've
greatly misjudged, Kay. I simply wish to see if Lord Airy has captured any unusual details this time too.
He has a knack for doing that.
Unusual details? Nothing's unusual. These are my best work yet.
Really? Now I want to see them too.
Oh, you're a sweetheart, Kay. Alright, let me dig them out for you. Give me a sec, okay? Suppose we might as well take a look.
Alright, let's see these sketches.
So these sketches of yours... Seriously, Edgy, if you wanted to check out my art, you should have just said so from the get-go. Here, feast your eyes on this.
Whoa! Wait, what's going on in the bottom left there? Why does she just have like 5 candies on the cart?
What am I looking at here? I told you already, ravishing beauties. Just a few of the fair faces that have caught my eye since I've been here, you know? There's Verity and Judy and, somebody else.
Why did you draw them all on the same page?
Well, I meant to draw the room first, just something to pass the time. And then I saw one beauty and another, and, well, I just scribbled them all down as I went.
So these were all drawn at different times?
Huh? Yeah, I guess. I did one of you too, Kay. You're on a different page, though.
Wow, you did? I'm flattered.
How true to life are these sketches? Did you only draw what you actually saw?
Of course. You think I draw things I can't see? Like, using my imagination?
An artist using his imagination? Unheard of.
Nope, these are 100% true to life right down to the exact shade of each color.
So colors are accurate. Interesting. You know, if he ever does fail as an artist, though, like he doesn't make it big, he should see if he could become a court illustrator, because he definitely has some skill at it. I think he'd at least be good there. He's good at capturing details and being very accurate. So far, in fact, that twice now have his pictures been useful in solving cases. I have a feeling this is going to be number 3. Just a thought, putting it out there, considering what we're seeing here.
Much as it pains me to admit it, Larry may have provided me with a useful piece of evidence yet again. The serving card in the sketch, for example, if I compare it to the one here in the room, there's a clear contradiction between the two. I think a little deduction is in order. Could I borrow this page for a while, Larry?
Sure thing. You want me to sign for you?
Just a page, please.
Maybe he should sign it. Just in case you have to, like, submit it to court or something, then they have more proof that it was made by Larry. Alright. Let's go see what we're dealing with, then. Should we talk to you?
Seems the police have already removed the body.
But why did the body of a victim from 18 years ago turn up in this fountain? And why was it all rotten and stuff? Did it slowly shuffle its way here?
Okay, I wasn't sure if they were gonna bring this up, but that's been bugging me too. Like, the body was in immaculate condition. Was it under, like, cryo storage or something?
Did I remind you that zombies aren't real? Seems likely the body was preserved somehow.
Really? Is that even possible? Hey, Mr. Forensics guy, anything to report?
Yes, ma'am. Traces of both ubiquitin and asphyxian have been detected in the fountain.
I'm gonna say they're probably carried here by the stream from the Autumn Wing.
In addition to those 2 chemicals, there's also a large amount of sugar. Composition of the sugar is being analyzed as we speak.
Sugar in the fountain? Where would it even come from?
Were the statues made of flavored water again? Like last time?
Hello there, dearie. Still investigating away, are you? Found anything interesting? No, dearie. Well, nothing much anyway. Silly girl, that wasn't a dearie moment. That was more of a lambkin. Sweetheart is for when you're being sympathetic, of course, and treasure is for when they're in a tiz. Love is for when you're not that keen on, or people you're not that keen on, and petals for when you're trying to get someone's attention. I didn't realize there's so many rules. Miss Edgeworth, Petal, I hope you're getting all of this down.
Don't even try it, Kay.
Oh, dearie me.
Do you mind, Mr. Winner? You're in my way. I do mind, actually, and I'm not going anywhere. You'll just have to go around me.
Well, we just thought you might want to move for a better spot, that's all.
What better spot? I demand you show it to me at once. Is that really all it takes to make you do whatever we want?
He wants to be the best at everything. That means standing in the perfect position at all times. Perfect angle. At the perfect time.
Don't think you're gone away with anything, Mr. Edgeworth. I'll be reporting your actions to the committee.
Do whatever you need to do, Judge Cavell.
And we'll do the same. You're the Sifester-Isle Great Thief, correct? Mr. Edgeworth's association with such a character will be of interest to the committee too, of course. Go ahead and report me to your stupid committee. I'll be the toast of the thieving community.
It looks like Judge Cavell will have to think up some new threats if she wants to intimidate Kay. The selection of trophies won by Paul Halik, or rather Artie Frost. Evidently, he was a very well-respected artist.
Well, you gotta be one too, Mr. Edgeworth.
So it's about time I won.
So it's about time I won one too. Guess I'll have to find some thieving contest center. Or, you could set something up. Something with a nice ceremony at the end and all that.
Yes, followed by a swift round of arrests.
The winner just gets arrested. I like the sound of that.
Mr. Winner, was very clear that you're only allowed to investigate in this room. So I'm afraid I can't let you pass. Sorry, sir. Wouldn't make much difference if you did, officer. You're standing in front of a wall. But we all know a few bricks won't stop you, Mr. Miles Edgeworth, sir.
When has he been known to break through walls?
Wow, he actually sounds kind of scared of you.
So what kind of reputation do I have down at the precinct? Why is there a lift cart just sitting here out in the open?
Guess somebody must have been moving something heavy.
The top of the platform seems to be wet. You know, I got a funny feeling I've seen this thing somewhere before.
You mean, like, 18 years ago?
Yeah, it's all coming back to me now. I last saw it in Frost's room.
Oh? Maybe it was used to move the statues?
Must have used it to move the ice sculptures around. It's one of those fancy numbers where you can change not only the platform's height, but even its angle. If you had one of these, you can move giant lumps of ice around no sweat.
Oh, just think of the possibilities. I could really use one of these.
Still doesn't explain what's going on here, though. Bit of a head scratcher, but we should give it a think, yeah? Indeed. After all, it just might have something to do with our case.
Should we talk to you?
Where were you before you rejoined us here, Miss Bound?
I had to go and tell our visitors were closed. Oh, and hand out a little something in apology. Was there something you wanted to talk to me about?
Yes, a few things actually. Not least of all, the fact that I think you might be the one who set the poison gas trap. The original ice sculptures melted 18 years ago, correct? How did you manage to recreate them?
Oh, you know about what happened then? In that case, you might also know I took pictures of them during the contest. I commissioned the creation of a set of replicas based on those photographs for this current exhibit.
But why go through all the trouble of creating replicas?
Mr. Frost's Zodiac series was his great unfinished masterwork. I wanted to see it completed at last. Or rather, recompleted. It was my fault that the original set melted in the first place, after all.
I see. And is there any particular reason why the winter and autumn wings look so similar?
Oh my, you really think they look alike? Perhaps I used some of the decorations from one and the other by accident?
We're just not going to mention the fact that they're swapped? Like, that doesn't bother her at all?
She's clearly lying, but I don't have the evidence to prove it just yet.
What evidence will that be? Okay, we talked to everyone, we've examined everything. We talked to her, talked to him, talked to them, him. Oh, we didn't technically talk to him. Right, because we clicked on the cart and that talked to him.
Hey there, Mazarino. What's the situation with the investigation?
Things are progressing. I think a fuller picture of what might happen is beginning to emerge. Good to hear. Guess I better step up my game too then. This case seems to have a lot in common with the incident from 18 years ago. And how? It's got the lot. Melty statues in the winter wing, and even the murder victim's body.
But how did nobody ever figure out that the body had gone missing?
Ross had no family apart from his son. And, well, the kid kind of vanished. Nobody's seen him around since the time of the incident. Gusto's son, too. Him and his best pal from school both just up and disappeared.
What? And they were never found?
Gusto's boy wasn't, not as far as I know, heard anyhow. Guess Frost's kid turned up in the end, though. He collected his inheritance at some point. But yeah, with no family around just after the incident, Frost got no funeral, no nothing. So no need for the police to release the body, and no need for anybody to find out that they didn't have it. They filed their fake autopsy reports and nobody was any wiser. Well, almost nobody.
I still can't believe Mr. Von Karma would have stooped so low. What do you mean you're surprised? Isn't that like his MO? There's something I can present him, maybe? Oh, you know what? Probably got some logic we can do. No, you don't think. Okay. We just drank a, like, half poison or something. Okay, well. I mean, this would probably explain why the tea smells different. Even if the other one didn't. I suspect the difference in aroma we noticed is due to the teapots having been switched.
You do?
I can't see what else it could have been. The tea itself hadn't changed. Why don't we ask Miss Bound, just to be sure? Miss Bound, the difference in aroma we noticed, do you think it could have been because of the different teapot?
I suppose so.
My cup just now had a subtle minty scent, rather like uva tea.
Oh, I just remembered. I made some peppermint tea in that pot only yesterday. That must be where the minty aroma is coming from.
Right, okay. No, that checks out, I guess. Could that really be it? Or could it be something else? Something more, shall we say, ubiquitous. The tea from the teapot Larry switched in from under the cart smelled faintly of mint.
Right, Miss Bound said she used that pot to make peppermint tea yesterday.
Yes, but there's something else that's been troubling me. Miss Bound seemed more taken aback by the switching to teapots than the breaking of one.
You're right. You'd expect it to be the other way around.
I suspect she might have been deliberately hiding the teapot underneath the cot.
But why?
One of Ubiquitium's key characteristics is its minty fragrance. So what if she had been hiding some in that teapot?
What? In the teapot?
It's simply a possibility, but one worth investigating, I believe. Mr. Winner, any luck finding that Ubiquitium? Huh? My people are searching the entire gallery, but they haven't found anything yet. And what about you? Don't tell me you know where it came from. I may have an idea. I knew it. If I can't find it, there's no chance a useless... What? You do know where it came from? Yes. Where? Miss Bound's teapot. Wow, nice piece. I like it. Yeah, this looks like a fitting prize for a natural-born winner. Well, is he gonna get into burglary as well? It's not a prize. It's a vital piece of evidence. Oh, it's just evidence. Then I'll have one of the forensics people check it out. I'm waiting for that guy to, like, slip into the fountain. Standing up there like that.
Mr. Edgeworth, is there some sort of problem with my teapot?
Possibly. The minty fragrance we noted coming from it. I think it just might be the scent of one of the chemicals used to make the poison gas.
But, Mr. Edgeworth, surely you don't think I had anything to do with it?
I'm afraid I do.
The method used to create the gas would have required considerable preparation. Nobody would have had the time or opportunity to set that up except you.
That's not strictly true. It took around a week to get Zodiac Hall ready for the exhibition. There were all kinds of people coming and going through here during that time. Delicia, for one. So you see, I'm not the only person who could have set it all up.
Miss Scone is on our radar too, of course. You needn't worry about that.
And besides, I wouldn't know the first thing about making poison gas. So even if you did find some ubiquitous in my teapot, I wouldn't have any idea what to do with it. But I suppose we should see what the test results say first.
Miss Bound claims she doesn't know the first thing about making poison gas. I need to find a way to prove that she's lying.
Yeah, considering like her adoptive dad was a pharmaceutical expert. Or from a line of them. And he had all the recipes for them.
Edgeworth speaking. That's me. Is everything alright, Detective?
Everybody's left the winter wing. It's just me and you now. Which means I can tell you what we found.
Really shouldn't be sharing information about the investigation. But after the past week or so, I'm not about to stop him now.
Past week, past 4 years. At least for once it's a good thing.
The exhibits in here have all completely melted. All that's left in the display cases is some stuff at the bottom. Yeah, more of it in the Tars case than the Gemini case, though. Describe this stuff for me if you can.
Yes, sir.
It's like a pale blue liquid. I had the lab run some tests just now. Yeah, the sample from the Tars case just had a bunch of sugar in it. Yeah, but the one from the Gemini case had 3 different substances in it. Which were sugar, salt, and blood. Blood? What is salt and blood doing in the Gemini case's sample? I can't imagine whose blood it could possibly be, but I'll get it tested right away, sir. Please do, Detective. Oh, and I also spoke over the radio with the forensics guy working with the fountain room. He said he just got worried that the sugar they found in the fountain matches the sugar in the pale blue liquid. I see. That may well prove to be a significant development.
How did they test that exactly? Is that like concentration? I mean, there's different types of sugar for sure. I guess they could just match in those regards, like type and concentration of it.
Anything else to report, Detective?
Yes, sir. We found one of those light-emitting devices here in the Winter Wing, too.
There were a few of those being used in the Autumn Wing to disguise as the Winter Wing, I recall. It seems that the equipment from 18 years ago is more than just for show. I need to talk to Miss Scone about this.
Anyhow, I better be getting back to it. I'll let you know as soon as we hear from the lab about that blood.
Yes, thank you, Detective.
Was that Gummy? Seemed like he had a lot to say.
He did, and all of it very useful. I'm going to prove that Miss Bound's claims about who could have set up the poison trap are false. I'll need to talk to a certain somebody else who was here 18 years ago.
You. I pressed the wrong button. I don't want to talk to her. Not you. You!
Miss Scone, I'd like to ask you a few questions if I may.
Of course, dear. Fire away. Anything for you, Mousy Smousy, and dear sweet little Tooth Decay.
I'd appreciate if that was the last time you called me Milesy Smilesy.
I'm not a fan of Tooth Decay either. Well, you'll just have to like it or lump it. I can't change the nickname once I've settled on it. Well, I guess we tried.
What can you tell us about the various decorations used to decorate the gallery's exhibits? There seem to be some pretty specialized items in use. Light-emitting devices, luminous fabrics.
Oh, I can tell you all about those, dearie. After all, I'm the one who gave them to Moody Judy. It was my way of saying sorry after I broke the rules all those years ago. I brought her 4 lovely new salt lamps, and I gave her the 4 pieces of luminous cloth I used for the contest. Wow, that's super generous of you. Well, us girls have to do our best, don't we? Not everybody understands, of course.
I'd better not be a dig at me, Delish. I told you how kind I thought that was.
Yes, back then when you were a dear, sweet, innocent baby boy. What happened to you, eh? A dear, sweet, innocent baby boy? Mr. Fender? Can't quite picture that, I have to say.
So these decorations, they're all the same ones as It's the ones you saw 18 years ago, correct?
Yep, salt lamps, glowing fabric, light emitting doodads, whole bit. There were 4 luminous cloths in use in the autumn wing, but I'm sure I saw another one somewhere.
I'm not lying. Oh, it's in my bag somewhere, I'm sure of it.
What is she looking for?
That's not it. And that's not it.
That cloth looks familiar. Maybe I should jog her memory or something so Miss Scone would tell us more.
I think we should have that cloth in the evidence.
Miss Scone, you're something of a specialist. How might someone learn to make the poison gas that was used in the attack? Any ideas?
Well, any pharmacist who's ever handled Infesticide Ultra would know for a start. After all, it says right there on the label, do not mix with products containing ubiquium, ever.
What about a layperson? It's unlikely they'd know, wouldn't you say?
I mean, internet's a pretty amazing place. The things you can find there.
I suppose so, yes. Well, not unless they had a nose through the Ultimate Cookbook anyway.
Guys from that contest 18 years ago.
The recipe for making Infesticide Ultra, along with that not mixing with ubiquium bit, is in there, you know.
So you're familiar with the contents of the book?
Oh yes, dear. I know it inside and out. Because I work for the Tangaroa Group, you see. We're the company behind Cold Killer X. I'm sure you've heard of it.
Cold Killer X fights back sniffles and sneezes with ease, apparently.
After Sammy P. Bull was found guilty, this company took custody of the book. But they only granted their most trusted people access to it, of course.
Which means Miss Scone is one of those elites, I suppose.
Alright, we'll start with the cloth.
You had a piece of fabric like this in your bag, did you not, Miss Scone? Albeit a somewhat grimier one.
Grimy? How rude. You won't get people to cooperate with your little investigation like that, young man.
Should I call it a dish towel then? Perhaps you used it to wipe up some sort of spillage.
A spillage, he says. The cheek. That's a piece of highly specialized luminous cloth. Though I probably shouldn't have told you that.
I think I'd like to know a little more about this highly specialized luminous cloth, if you don't mind. Why didn't you want me to know you had a piece of luminous cloth in your bag?
Oh, well, I suppose there's no point hiding it now, is there? If you must know, I fished it out of the fountain. It was right before they called me into the autumn wing.
So no sketch of Miss Scone was when she was trying to retrieve the cloth.
At first I thought it was one of the ones I'd given Moody Judy.
One of the 4 you gave the gallery, correct?
Exactly. But all 4 were being used in the autumn wing, weren't they? So I realized it must be the one that went missing all those years ago. I'd only had my Infesticide Ultra pinched and used to make poison gas. If one of my cloth turned out to have been used in some sort of dastardly deed too, well, I was going to look guilty as sin, wasn't I? So I kept it hidden in my bag and hoped for the best.
Man, who's going around? This person has like a vendetta against all these people for 18 years ago. Going around, pilfering things out of her bag, trying to frame her for murder.
I see.
Oh, it does feel good to get it off my chest, though. Stress is no good for the complexion.
So the cloth that disappeared 18 years ago, the one that the victim was wrapped in, just happens to reappeared in the fountain at the same time as the body.
Okay, what else can we give her? The book, maybe? Ask her about the book?
Have you read the Ultimate Cookbook, Miss Scone?
Of course I have. I am a pharmacist, you know. Even if I do wear a big pink hat. I think it's so cool you're a pharmacist. Well, so do I, dearie. So is you, I. Aren't you a sweetheart, my little tooth decay?
Since when were you interested in pharmaceuticals?
Shh. I'm working on my magic on Miss Edgeworth. Buttering up so she'll do what I want. Anyway, Miss Scone. Delicia, I was wondering if you could maybe... No. How many times, you cheeky little imp? Once your name's decided, I can't change it. So much for the sneaky approach. What kind of great thief am I?
She saw right through your tricks.
Not a very good one.
Is there anything else here? Note at the moment? Oh yeah, of course, this image.
Oh, look at that, a picture of silly old me.
That's right. You seem to have caught the artist's eye.
You mean lovely Laurie Lambkin? I'll have to have a word with him and say thanks.
Well, I'd be glad to introduce you.
And there's the evil smirk.
I don't think there's anything else at the moment. Did we have logic? No. What are we missing for logic? Sorry. What? Ultimate cookbook contains instructions for cream poison gas. Okay. Well, apparently I've already finished talking to her. Oh, we got more we can talk to him about. Okay.
Tell me, Mr. Fender, what kind of person is Miss Bound?
Huh?
Wait a minute. Don't tell me you've got a thing for her, Master.
I do not.
Chill, I'm just yanking your chain. Anyway, what can I say about Jude's? Well, she's a real brave trooper for one. What else do you call someone who waits around for 18 whole years like she has for Samson? Even after his extended family kicked her out of his place.
What? They threw her out?
Yep, Jude's wasn't technically part of the family, so there's nothing she could do. She had nothing, nobody, no job after Samson took the fall. She had no choice but take what he taught her and make her own way in showbiz. She's retired from all that now, though.
Yes.
Why did she retire? She finally made enough to buy the old place back. She even got the ultimate cookbook back from the Tankora group after they basically stole it.
Huh. Well, that was unexpected.
Guess this place and everything to do with it was all she ever cared about. So she just wanted it back. All of it.
Fender seems very sympathetic to Miss Bound's plight. But from a less charitable perspective, she has, in a way, taken everything of Mr. Tangora's for herself. Isn't that exactly what Tangora told her not to do? Like, told him to work for herself, and I guess she kind of did in a way, but only to just preserve the memory of Tangora. Guess we found another person who might know how to make the poison. The Ultimate Cookbook contained instructions on how to create the poison gas. And the current owner of that book is none other than Miss Judy Bound.
No way. You mean...
I'm afraid I do. Miss Bound would have been perfectly capable of setting up the gas trap. Finally, we can prove that she's been lying to us.
Wait, you or you? I guess we'll talk to you. Do we present this?
What kinds of pharmaceutical recipes are in the Ultimate Cookbook?
Oh, there are so many. It would take a while to go through them all. But if you really want to know, well then let's start the show.
Come join me as we sing the song. It's a nifty, thrifty 2 hours long.
Now one by one we'll sing the things that the world's best little cookbook brings.
What do you think, Miss Edgeworth? Want to listen to the rest?
No, that won't be necessary.
Yeah, I'm good. 2 hours is quite a while. I'm okay. No, okay. I thought we were trying to confront Judy here about her lying and have her confess to the crime and all that. Let me check my history and see where we're at. Miss Bound would have been perfectly capable of setting the gas trap. We can prove that she's been lying to us. Right, yeah. Okay. So how do we present the gas trap? Should I ask her about the chocolates on the cart?
Oh my, is that me?
Yes, it was painted by the so-called artist over there.
It's wonderfully drawn. Would you mind if I kept it?
I'm sorry, Miss Bound. I'm afraid it's an important piece of evidence.
Oh, I see. That's a shame.
I suppose Larry's charm is something of a talent if he can impress a gallery owner with sketches like these.
Okay, I'm gonna see if there's something else I need to do first, because maybe I'm jumping to conclusions too quickly here. I just don't see... Yeah, I don't see anything new. Do we talk to her?
Have you read the Ultimate Cookbook, Miss Scone?
Of course I have. I'm a pharmacist, you know, even if I do wear a big pink hat.
Oh, we did read this one already. Wait, so what am I supposed to do next then? I got the logic done, and then what? Do we talk to Eddie, maybe? Update him on the case?
Do you mind, Mr. Winner? You're in my way.
I'll show him an even better spot. How about you? No, okay. I already did everything on there. Okay, yeah. Right. Did I not... I did examine the trolley. Yeah. What did I forget to... Okay, so apparently the investigation is just supposed to end. I didn't click on something, apparently.
Door here is marked with a nice autumny looking tree.
And yet it leads to the winter wing. I suppose it's all part of the deception.
I could seal the leaves if you like. Make things a little more wintry.
I think you'd better leave them alone, Kay.
Seeing from the door is a fir tree, right?
Yes, they're usually associated with winter, but this door leads to the autumn wing. I suppose it's all part of someone's elaborate ruse.
I could paint it red for that autumny feel.
Evergreens stay green all year round, Kay. Hence the name.
Sure. I knew that.
Okay, let me like run through what we missed to do here, because clearly I did some things kind of out of order. Okay. So talk to Judy. Let's make sure we got all the questions. I don't know what I missed. Well, apparently a lot. Oh, right, we need to... Maybe we need to click on this now, and maybe... Right, because Edgeworth said there was something she was hiding. Maybe we have to do it through here. Yeah, okay. Oh, we don't have any evidence for that, though. Do we put down... What do we present to her for this? Okay, so I'm looking at the thing here, seeing what we need to do. Okay, 2 cards. Is it this? Do we present this?
This lift card, I heard it was used 18 years ago too.
That's right. It was in another room until I brought it out here. It's very useful for moving large, heavy objects around.
Why is it wet? Is it used to carry something wet?
Do I have to, like, present something on the table? Oh, we can, okay. Oh, yeah, because this was something in his sketch. I forgot. They mentioned that there was a contradiction in the sketch. So maybe we have to do that now. Yes, okay, good. We got somewhere. We're good.
Larry, could I ask something about your sketches? Fascinated by the work of the great Laurie Nim, huh? It's in the composition, right? Not exactly. This light blue tablecloth, you painted that exactly as you saw it, correct?
Wait, it's light blue in the picture? Oh yeah, it is. I didn't even realize that was supposed to be a different color. Don't mind me.
I already told you, everything's exactly as I saw it. But the tablecloth on the card here in this room is white. Wow. It's so full of crazy theories, the simple stuff just passes you by, right, huh? What's that look for? Listen, just before I drew that sketch, I was in the middle of some business with the cart with the tea set on, okay? What kind of business? That's right, it was the hiding a piece of the teapot I smashed kind. That's nothing to boast about. Anyway, I was still in the middle of cleaning it all up when Judy came out of the winter wing. I didn't want to get busted for breaking the pot, so I quickly dove out of sight.
Oh yeah, real good hiding there. Good job. No one's gonna see you.
Wait, Miss Bound came out of the winter wing? Yeah, she was pushing a cart. A different one. That's the one with the light blue tablecloth on it that I drew.
What was she hiding under the cloth, hmm?
And what did she do with this second serving cart? Well, I saw her wheel it into the summer wing, but I don't know what happened to it after that. And when she came back out, she was pushing one of those other carts, the kind you can lift stuff with. A lift cart? Yeah, so I called out to her, but she just ran off and left behind. Yeah, I never had her down as the shy type, but it goes to show, you never know. Another serving cart and the lift cart.
Is it maybe another tea set too?
We'd better check with Miss Bound.
There we go. That's the key we needed. Alright, Miss Bound. You're under arrest. We gotcha. You had 2 carts. That's illegal.
Are there 2 serving carts here at the gallery, Miss Bound?
Oh, yes. Why do you ask?
A certain so-called artist showed us this sketch. I couldn't help but notice the color of the tablecloth. It's light blue.
Light blue? I'm afraid your friend must be mistaken. I only use white tablecloths. They're freshly laundered and starched. Like the perfect wrinkle-free one on the cart here in the fountain room, right? Exactly. If I saw so much as a blemish, I would replace it right away.
Could the color of the tablecloth in the sketch simply been a mistake on Larry's part? Do you have any idea what you might have been doing with this sketch was drawn?
Let me see. I appear to be carrying out my usual duties.
I'd like to ask you a little more about these duties, if I may. What exactly were you doing when this sketch was drawn? Whoops. Because from what I can see, your card doesn't have a tea set on it.
I was delivering some chocolates to the investigating officers. Aw, now I'm jealous. I love chocolate. Well, there were a few left over, so here, for you both. I made them myself. Hope you like them. Thanks, Miss Bound.
Well, why not? They're a little melted, but I suppose that's because they've been sitting around in her pocket.
They're super sweet. I love them. I'm very glad to hear it.
It may not be the prettiest, but I'm grateful for the energy boost nonetheless.
I guess she hasn't had time to prove her technique over the last 18 years.
Perhaps I could do with a little less sugar.
Oh, that's it. Okay. We just had some chocolate, and then we're done.
That's that. All that's left now is to wait the results of the test on the teapot.
Well, I don't know. How much longer is this case gonna be? That's the question. Because I'm guessing we're getting close to the end. But I imagine, yeah, I mean, there's obviously gonna still be the long finale. It's already 11:20. See, I do this every time. I want to try not doing it for once. Even though this case has been kind of weird with how it's been laid out. Like, it feels really short in some places and, like, almost non-existent in others. But the last 2 times, actually more than 2 times, the last, like, 6 times, we've done a 2-parter for a case. Always goes to, like, 2 a.m. I want to see. We're gonna stop here. And we're going to leave the finale, the actual finale, for next time. Because I'm sure we're almost at the finale. I feel like we've got all the pieces together. It's just a matter of figuring out how they fit. So we'll leave that for next week. And if it ends up being Charmy, who cares? We can just start the next case. But I have a feeling this is probably still going to take a couple more hours. And I'd rather it not. So we're going to stop here. It's not really a cliffhanger. I mean, I don't think anything major has happened aside from the fact that we had some chocolate and apparently a body was found in the fountain. But we resolved that cliffhanger. Who knows if we'll be jumping back to the past again. I feel like we're probably done with that portion, and now it's just a matter of figuring out the current case. But we'll do that next week. I'll be back tomorrow with Lingo, and I should be back Friday with some Minecraft. And then Zelda should resume on Monday. I don't think I'm going to really have time to do a makeup stream for it this week, unfortunately, but that's okay. We will return to Zelda on Monday. But for now, thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.